Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Villain. My strength depends entirely on the imagination of the heroine. Chapter 41. Several female disciples then became a little excited. Before, they also said that they hoped that Feng would be able to offend someone he couldn't afford, and then he would be taught a severe lesson. Now it's all right, the entire empire has been messed with by a demon that shouldn't be messed with. Let alone Feng, the entire empire will suffer. Now, of course, he can take care of Feng boldly and safely. Anyway, the empire is about to collapse, so what if you beat him up? His father the emperor can't even keep the empire, how can he protect him? Everyone is full of joy. Today, together with Lu Chengshuang, I will give a hard lesson to Feng who has always wanted to clean up. A group of female disciples formed a gang and directly entered the area of the male disciples. Then, go directly to Feng's residence. Many male disciples of the Ling sect were stunned to see such a battle. What happened? Why did Lu Chengshuang bring so many people into the residential area of the male disciples? What do you want? Under the bewildered eyes of many male disciples, Lu Chengshuang led everyone to Feng's residence. Boom! Just kick the door open. Feng, get out! Lu Chengshuang shouted. Unfortunately, Feng was not there. Lu Chengshuang glanced across the room, but Feng was nowhere to be seen. Immediately everyone frowned. Did this guy know that they were coming to deal with him, so he hid in advance? Lu Chengshuang then turned around, and asked a male disciple who was watching, where did Feng go? I don't know, I haven't seen him for several days. The male disciple replied quickly. How many days? Lu Chengshuang frowned slightly. Did this guy go down the mountain before? Asked Yi Jin. Lu Chengshuang then said again. After all, he brought many female disciples back the same way. Then came to Yi Jin's residence. It's a pity that Yi Jin was not there, so she also went out. Now they are sure that Feng has really gone down the mountain. This guy is so lucky that he was not in the Ling sect at such a juncture, allowing him to escape a catastrophe. Everyone was a little disappointed that they couldn't beat Feng with their own hands. But there is no way, who made him lucky? Afterwards, Lu Chengshuang announced that according to the suzerain's order, Feng acted despicably and ruined the style of the family, and he will be expelled from the Ling sect immediately. And Yu, who was unlucky with him, was also expelled from the Ling sect. The Yuanyang continent is an extremely large continent. On this continent, the distribution of forces is extremely mixed. And the most top among them, besides the magic door, there are three more. Taishuan Empire, Chiming Ancient Clan, Xuanmai Tianzong. These three great powers would be the pinnacle of the entire continent if there were no demon sect. So all along, they wanted to eradicate the magic door. Knowing that the young master of the demon sect was not congenitally disabled, they couldn't sit still. So secretly sent people to Kengyun Tianshan, intending to test it out. But they underestimated Ling Shui's strength, and underestimated the strength of demon sect. None of the people sent out survived. And Ling Shui was unscathed. Now, Ling Shui is taking revenge. Starting from the Taishuan Empire. After the Taishuan Empire, the Chiming Ancient Clan and the Xuanmai Tianzong naturally couldn't escape either. So these two major forces are also impatient and restless now. The Chiming Ancient Clan is located in a 1,000-mile fairy mountain that is isolated from the world. An extremely ancient race, with thousands of years of history, is even older than the Taishuan Empire. The Chiming Ancient Clan has a spirit bead. It can condense the aura of heaven and earth within 1,000,000 miles of mountains and rivers. Back then, the ancestors of the Chiming Ancient Clan discovered this spirit bead, so they took root here. This Lingju created the Chiming Ancient Clan that is now prosperous and prosperous. In the middle of this invisible fairy mountain is the place where the ancestral hall of the Chiming Ancient Clan is located. It is the core place of the entire Chiming Ancient Clan. That spirit bead was placed in this ancestral hall. The huge ancestral hall covers an area of more than 100 acres. Inside, on top of the candle lights, there are neat rows of spirit tablets. These are the ancestors of the ancient Chiming clan. Seniority is distinct. All the people of the Chiming Ancient Clan, after death, will set up a spiritual seat for future generations to worship. At this time, all the senior officials of the entire Chiming Ancient Clan gathered in this huge ancestral hall. All kneel down before the spirit tablets of the ancestors of the ancient clan. Kneeling at the very front was a middle-aged man in black. The figure is straight and thin, and the face is vicissitudes. This person is the current patriarch of the Chiming ancient clan, Qianchen. And kneeling beside Qian Chen, there was another girl who looked 17 or 18 years old. The young girl has a delicate and pretty appearance, wearing a pure white dress that is not stained with dust, and a pair of pink and purple snowflake-shaped ice crystal earrings. She knelt on the ground with bare feet, and she wore a pair of pink and purple crystal anklets on her snow-white and slender ankles. This girl who looks crystal clear inside and out is the daughter of Qianchen, Chen Shui. At this time, all the high-level officials of the entire Chiming ancient clan knelt in front of the ancestors' spiritual seat. Of course only for one thing. Pray. Pray for the entire Qinlingu tribe. Now, Momin has openly wanted to crush the Taishuan Empire. And the Qianlingu clan also sent people to attack Ling Shui. So when the Taishuan Empire is destroyed, who will be the next target of the demon sect? They do not know. Where will the Chiming ancient tribe go? They don't know either. So, all they can do now is pray. Just pray. I pray for the blessing of the ancestors, and protect the safety of thousands of people of the Qinlingu tribe. At this time, everyone's faces were extremely solemn. Because in fact, many people know that praying is useless. If the demon sect wants to attack the Chiming ancient clan, let alone praying to the ancestors, even if the ancestors are resurrected, it will be useless. In the face of absolute strength, only absolute strength is true. It's a pity that they, the ancient spirit clan, don't have the absolute strength to face the demon sect. I'm sorry to everyone here, I'm sorry to the ancestors of the ancient clan. I'm sorry to all the people of the entire ancient clan. At the forefront, the voice of Dry Dust sounded slowly. He is confessing. Why did the participants participate in dealing with Ling Shui in the first place? If you didn't participate in this matter, you wouldn't get caught up in the fire. It will not cause the entire Qinlingu clan to fall into the current situation. Patriarch, this matter is our joint discussion, it is the wish of the entire ancient clan. It is not the responsibility of the Patriarch alone. Behind him, many high-level officials said hurriedly. Sending people to deal with Ling Shui was a decision made by the entire ancient clan. A long time ago, the Chiming ancient clan was also trampled under by the Demon Gate. Everyone in the entire Qinlingu clan is unwilling to see that kind of thing happen again. So he joined forces with the Taishuan Empire and other 6 major forces to test Ling Shui. It's just that no one expected that it would be such a result. What awaits the Chiming ancient clan now may only be the same result as the Taishuan Empire. When the time comes, the army of the demon sect will overwhelm the land, and the ancient people will surely lose their lives. I have no regrets. I will swear to the death to defend the ancient clan. Everyone behind them continued to speak loudly. They are not afraid, the worst is death. However, Qianchen is more afraid than anyone else. Because he is the patriarch, the lives of thousands of people in the entire ancient clan are in his hands. If the ancient clan is destroyed and the clansmen die in battle, it will be his responsibility. He will die with regret. As a leader, sometimes you will fall into such a predicament. This kind of predicament is something that the people below will never understand. Patriarch, the Taishuan Empire has already issued an invitation, and we will dispatch the entire army to join hands with the Taishuan Empire, so we may not be his opponent. Behind them, some high-level officials then said in a deep voice. No, we can't move, we can't shoot. However, Gan Chen shook his head. The relationship between the ancient clan and the demon sect cannot be allowed to continue to deteriorate. Team up. Teaming up is also inevitable, and he knows this very well. How powerful is the Taishuan Empire? There are no more than 10 Shenyuan realms up and down. But this time, in the ancient tomb of Kangyan Tianshan, the demon sect killed 10 Shenyuan realm just by mobilizing as many people as possible. Join hands, is it useful? Since he was the first to point out that he wants to attack the Taishuan Empire, maybe, he is giving us a chance. Qian Chen continued. If we don't make a move, maybe there is still room for maneuver. Once we make a move, it will really be beyond redemption. Now, there is still a chance, there is still time. The magic gate has not done anything to them yet. So, there should be room for maneuver. Hearing Qian Chen's words, everyone bowed their heads in silence, feeling unwilling. Maneuver. For the current plan, how can we turn around? Everyone, I know that you are not afraid of life and death. But, how can we abandon thousands of people from the ancient clan? Dry Dust continued. Hearing this, everyone remained silent. That's right, who wants to see their clansmen die tragically at the hands of the demon sect? Many of their clansmen are just children, young and ignorant children. How could these children die on the battlefield like this? Then, according to the patriarch's words, what should we do? Several senior officials then asked. Qian Chen raised his head and looked at the spiritual seats of the ancestors. After thinking for a moment, he said in a deep voice, I want to use the Lingju as a gift, and I beg the Demon Gate to let me live in the ancient Ling clan. As soon as these words came out, everyone's complexion changed drastically. Lingju, that is the treasure of their Qinlingu clan. How can I give it away? Patriarch, this is absolutely impossible. The Lingju is the most precious treasure of my ancient clan. Without the Lingju, it is equivalent to losing the entire Qinling ancient clan. Patriarch, please think again, we are willing to die in battle, and we must not hand over the spirit beads. Quote. Everyone said hastily, without the Lingju, what will the Qinlingu clan do in the future? What about the descendants of the Qinlingu tribe? It's better to go to war directly, anyway, they are not afraid of death. Everyone, no one is afraid of death. But, how can I really watch all my people die? Gan Chen said in a deep voice, without the Lingju, at least everyone can survive. The Lingju can't represent the Qinlingu clan, our clansmen, or the real Qinlingu clan. Indeed, if a bead is lost, the overall strength and future development of the entire Qinling ancient clan will be greatly reduced. But, if everyone is dead, what is the use of the spirit beads? If everyone is dead, the spirit beads will still fall into the hands of Momen. Hearing Qian Chen's words, everyone was speechless. Having said that, but, this is really unreconciled. Is the treasure of the ancient clan, something that the ancient clan has guarded for generations, really going to be handed over to others like this? I know that there are no weak people in my ancient clan. But, please be reasonable, the result of acting on your will be more serious. Gan Chen then said, if you have no objections, I will take the Lingju and go to the magic gate, talk about it. In fact, this is just his current plan. Success or failure is still the same thing. Whether Ling Shui is willing to accept his apology from the Linggu clan is still the same thing. Hearing Qianchen's words, everyone gritted their teeth. Although I am unwilling, but for the current plan, what else can I do besides doing this? Seeing that no one spoke, Gan Chen took a deep breath and continued, Shui, follow me to the demon gate. Lingju, perhaps not sincere enough. So, he would add another thing, something of absolute sincerity. In this way, maybe we can get the forgiveness of the demon sect and save the entire Qinling ancient clan. For the entire Qinling ancient clan, Lingju is a treasure. But for him, this daughter who has been raised since childhood is his treasure. The old department of the demon sect general altar. The vast majority of people have already rushed to Kangyan Tianshan under Ling Shui's order. Use Kangyan Tianshan as the new main altar of the demon sect. There are still some people who are still being transferred. But Ling Shui came back here again. My lord, what are we doing here? Xiao Xiao followed Ling Shui, and she still called Ling Shui the young master out of habit. Of course, he still sticks to Ling Shui habitually. When she went to Kangyan Tianshan before, because there might be a battle, she didn't follow. As soon as Ling Shui came back, she has been sticking to Ling Shui. Find someone. Ling Shui looked at the entire old headquarters of the demon sect main altar that had become almost empty. Find someone. Xiao Xiao scratched her head. Who still needs to look for it? She couldn't figure it out. If it was someone from the demon sect, wouldn't Ling Shui come out as soon as he gave an order? If you are not from the demon sect, then why come to the old department of the demon sect? Ling Shui just smiled lightly and didn't explain too much. In his generation, the 12 demons of heaven are Xiaoshang Yu and others. Xiaoshang Yu and the others are the 12 heavenly demons that his father gathered to assist him. And in my father's time, there were also 12 evil spirits. The 12 demons of the previous generation. It's just that in that great battle that year, almost all the 12 heavenly demons of the previous generation died in battle with their father. There are only a few left. But there is no doubt that the ones left behind are all existences in the realm of extreme martial arts. According to the original book, 4 of the previous generation of the 12 heavenly demons survived. One of them is in the main altar of the demon sect. Ling Shui took Xiao Xiao to the inside of this vast magic gate, in front of a lake. This lake is more than thousands of feet across, the water quality is clear, but it is deep and bottomless. Wait for me outside. Ling Shui just pointed at the little novel. Then, he swept his body and dived towards the bottom of the lake with a plop. Standing alone on the edge of the lake, Xiao Xiao pouted when she heard Ling Shui's words. Every time the young master says something like this, something bad will happen. There shouldn't be a big beauty hiding under here, right? Then what will happen to the young master with such a beautiful woman? Ever since what happened with Yan Luoxi and Yu Yaoyao, Xiao Xiao subconsciously thinks about everything in that direction. But this time, she was wrong. Below, there is no great beauty. The one below is an old man. An old man with red gold hair and beard. That thick and luxuriant hair and beard, like a ball of flame, burned on his head. At the bottom of this pitch-black lake whose depth is unknown, there is a magma at the bottom of the lake. At the bottom of this dark and gloomy lake, there is a fiery red light. The old man sat cross-legged in the magma with his eyes closed. After Ling Shui's figure came here, it was suspended in front of the old man. This old man with fiery red hair and beard is naturally one of the 12 heavenly demons of the previous generation. Yan Kui, old Yan. After Ling Shui came here, he yelled first. As for Yan Kui, of course he had seen it before. It's been a few years since I saw you. Sensing Ling Shui's arrival, Yan Kui's old eyes, which had been closed for an unknown number of years, slowly opened at this moment. As soon as he opened his eyes fell on Ling Shui. Then, deep in the old eyes, there was a sudden surprise. What surprised him, of course, was nothing else. Naturally, it was Ling Shui's current cultivation base. It turned out to be the peak of the divine origin realm. In his impression, Ling Shui is a congenital waste body without the slightest cultivation. Now, how could he possess such terrifying strength? Even if he wasn't congenitally disabled, he wouldn't have such strength at such a young age, right? This young master, could it be that he is still hiding something deep? It seems, everyone has been mistaken. No one knows that the young master is so unfathomable. Then Yan Kui's old voice sounded. There was a bit of relief in his tone. For them, the best result is nothing more than this. If Ling Shui wasn't congenitally disabled, then the future of the demon sect would naturally be hopeful. Mr. Yan is the previous 12 demons of the heavenly demon. He fought side by side with my father through life and death. It is for the elders. Ling Shui continued. Now, my demon gate is about to revive again, so I think Mr. Yan should be able to leave this place. So, you are here to invite this old man out. You are a junior, let an elder work for you. Yan Kui smiled. Of course I didn't come to ask Yan Lao to go out. Whether Yan Lao goes out or not is entirely up to Yan Lao's will. Ling Shui said lightly. These generals of the older generation have experienced too many trials and tribulations. It was so easy to survive. Even if Yan Kui decides not to participate in any disputes in the future, Ling Shui will never persecute these former heroes of the demon sect. Oh, then what is the purpose of the young master coming here? Yan Kui continued to ask curiously. I want to try my hands and feet with Yan Lao. The corners of Ling Shui's mouth curled up slightly. As soon as this remark came out, Yan Kui immediately looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. Good. It's good to try your hands and feet. Ling Shui asked him to go out to work for Ling Shui, but he actually had to go out. Because Ling Shui is the young master of the demon sect after all. But Ling Shui used the competition as an excuse. It's up to him whether he wants to go out or not. This can be regarded as giving him enough face as an elder. This young master of the demon sect is very domineering when he is domineering, and he is also quite reasonable when he is reasonable. Then let the old man come and try how deep the young master has hidden. Yan Kui then laughed out loud. Then, boom. In those old eyes, a fiery red light burst out instantly. The crimson flames around him surged wildly. The vast aura of extreme martial arts swept across the entire lake in an instant. And within Ling Shui's body, the Chenkin sword art was also slowly turning into motion. At the peak of the Shenyuan realm, fight at the extreme martial realm. Xiao Xiao was outside alone at this time, squatting by the lake. Thinking about what Ling Shui was doing with some beautiful woman at the bottom of the lake, she was unhappy. So he squatted there alone, pulling up the grass on the ground one by one and throwing it into the lake. I have been with the young master for so many years, when will the young master reward me for serving tea and water? But those women, why did you give it to them? Xiao Xiao is depressed alone. At this moment, the entire calm lake suddenly churned. Little big eyes looked towards the lake, and saw a burst of red light in the middle of the lake. It was as if there was a fire burning at the bottom of the lake. What happened? Xiao Xiao immediately got up quickly, and then hurriedly backed away. Looking at the direction of the lake from a distance, I saw that the whole lake was churning wildly in the next moment, and the waves were magnificent. Moreover, there were bursts of flames bursting out, and the lake surface was evaporating at a speed visible to the naked eye in the blink of an eye. The water vapor is crazily transpiring upwards. Spectacular. Of course Xiao Xiao didn't know what happened, and of course she couldn't do anything. Only look at it from afar. Under her gaze, there were bursts of bangs coming from the bottom of the lake. On the surface of the continuously evaporating lake, there was a stormy sea. Then, I don't know how long it has passed. Boom. With a sudden bang, a thick pillar of magma and fire several hundred feet suddenly soared into the sky. A huge pillar of fire burst out from under the bottom of the lake, sweeping up the entire lake and reaching into the sky. Then, it evaporated continuously in midair. Immediately afterwards. Wow! A blood-red sword chi rushed up from the bottom of the lake, directly cutting the magma fire column from the middle. The huge pillar of fire split into two at this moment. The flames entrained the lake water, and suddenly exploded in midair. The picture of the fusion of water and fire is like a sky full of stars, which is particularly spectacular. Xiao Xiao stood in the distance and stared blankly, watching the shock wave in midair dissipate slowly. Watching the lake water continue to evaporate, watching the flames continue to dissipate. Then, she saw two figures standing in the air. It was Ling Shui and Yan Kui. At this time, all the water in the thousands of feet of lake below has been evaporated, leaving only a bottomless pit. In midair, Yan Kui suddenly looked up to the sky and laughed loudly, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. The young master is really unfathomable, and your father was far behind you, ha 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 ha. At this time, there was already a torn hole in the robe on his chest. After sparring with Ling Shui just now, he didn't have the upper hand. Of course, if it was a death battle, it would be very difficult for Ling Shui to kill him. It can only be said that Ling Shui's combat power is also at the level of extreme martial arts, almost on par with him. Old Yan has given in. Ling Shui smiled faintly. Hee, it's my wish to work for an heir to the demon sect like you. Yan Kui continued. Ling Shui said that he was competing with him, but he was actually asking him to come out. Ling Shui has given enough face, and Ling Shui has also shown amazing strength. Of course he is happy to play for Ling Shui. With Mr. Yan here, this attack on the Taishuan Empire will surely win. Ling Shui continued with a faint smile. Oh, you want to attack the Taishuan Empire? Yan Kui looked at Ling Shui curiously. Something happened before. Ling Shui smiled lightly, and then told everything that happened in Kengyan Tianshan. After listening, Yan Kui's old face suddenly became icy cold. Huh. A group of rats, are they still trying to break the future of my demon sect? This old man will follow the young master and crush them one by one. The first choice is the Taishuan Empire. Old Yan doesn't know that the Taishuan Empire is a bit special. Ling Shui continued. What's so special about the mere Taishuan Empire? Even if the old man doesn't ride horses, with the strength of the young master, it will be effortless. Yan Kui said coldly. Ling Shui smiled. It was indeed the truth. But the most special thing is not the Taishuan Empire itself, but the protagonist Yi Feng. So the first thing he should do is to get rid of Yi Feng first. Old Yan doesn't know that the Taishuan Empire also has a supreme martial realm existence. Ling Shui continued. The supreme emperor of the Taishuan Empire did not die back then. Oh, that old thing is still alive. Yan Kui narrowed his eyes suddenly. There were many people who participated in that battle back then, and he was among them, and of course the Supreme Emperor of the Taishuan Empire was also among them. However, even if he is still alive, the young master has such strength, and my demon sect has such an army, he can still crush his Taishuan Empire. Yan Kui continued. Even if the Taishuan Empire has a realm of extreme martial arts, it is fearless. After all, Ling Shui himself is so powerful, and the demon sect army is many times larger than the Taishuan Empire. If Elder Yan can come forward, he will naturally be able to win more easily. Ling Shui smiled. One more extreme martial realm, of course, can be crushed even more. Also, I have something else, I want to ask Mr. Yan to help. Ling Shui continued. Young master, speak bluntly, Yan Kui replied. Ling Shui continued. Old Yan has a bunch of Zaihuo from the White Underworld demon flame in his hand. I have a friend who needs it. I wonder if Elder Yan can give it to me as a gift. It is recorded in the original book that before Yan Kui, he also got a sub-fire of the White Underworld demon fire. So, he wanted to bring it to Yan Luoxi. Firstly, Yan Luoxi was his woman. Secondly, that woman has something to do with Supreme Realm, so it doesn't hurt to help her. Oh, I didn't expect the young master to know this. Yan Kui smiled, and continued. Since it is the young master's request, the old man is naturally willing to give it away. It's just a fire, and it's useless to the old man. With his current strength, a mass of fire is indeed useless. He used to plan to collect more Zaihuo. However, since Ling Shui has spoken, of course he is willing to give it to Ling Shui. After saying that, Yan Kui flicked his fingers. A cluster of snow-white flames drifted slowly towards Ling Shui. Ling Shui put the fire away. In the future, if something happens, there will be another bargaining chip to negotiate terms with Yan Luoxi. That woman is related to the Supreme Realm, the future must not be easy. Master Demon Lord, the Patriarch of the Chiming Ancient Clan asks to see you. At this moment, Xiao Shongyu's voice suddenly came from Chiming Tianshan. The ancient Chiming Clan. Hearing this voice transmission, Yan Kui's old face changed. HMPH. They wanted to touch the young master before, but now they dare to send him to the door, so I will go and crush him into a meat paste. Old Yan doesn't need to be impulsive, these things. I will handle them myself. Ling Shui just smiled lightly. Yan Kui looked at Ling Shui, then nodded. Although the heir to the magic sect is young, he is capable. Therefore, since Ling Shui spoke, of course he absolutely obeyed. Then let Ling Shui handle it by himself. Immediately afterwards, Yan Kui flicked his fingers. Suddenly, a huge space gap appeared in front of him. The symbol of the realm of extreme martial arts is naturally the ability to tear the void and teleport over long distances. Thousands of miles away in the blink of an eye. Afterwards, Ling Shui took Xiao and Yan Kui into the space rift together. Back to Chiming Tianshan. Chiming Tianshan, the new main altar of the demon sect. In a newly built hall, dry dust and dry snow are waiting at this time. It was just the two of them, and none of the Qinlingu tribe came. Because, it is to talk about cooperation. On the way here, Qianshan had already told Chen Shui about his true thoughts. He planned to use Chen Shui and the spirit beads of the Qinlingu tribe as gifts, and begged Ling Shui to let the Qinlingu tribe go. Shuier, I'm sorry. Qian Chen looked at Qian Shui, his eyes full of apology. I have to make such a decision for the lives of everyone in the ancient clan. Ganzu didn't blame her father, but just smiled lightly. Father, I know. I understand. If I can exchange for the peace of the entire ancient clan, it's worth it. As the daughter of the patriarch, she knows how much pressure the fate of the entire race will impose on one person. So, she understands her father. She is also willing to do such a thing. Although she had never met Ling Shui, she didn't know what kind of person Ling Shui was. But anyway, she would. Even if the other party is an ugly monster, she has no complaints. Because, she is for her own race. Thinking on the bright side, if he agrees, if you become the wife of the demon lord, your future, as well as the future of the entire Qinling ancient clan, will be bright. Qian Chen smiled bitterly, reached out and patted his daughter's fragrant shoulder. Chen Shui also smiled bitterly, hoping that such a good thing really happens. If the Lord Demon Lord can treat himself sincerely, then of course there is nothing more reassuring than this. At this moment, there was a sudden sound from the entrance of the main hall, and a space crack was slowly formed. Then, Ling Shui walked out of it, followed by Xiao Xiao and Yan Kui. Seeing this scene, Qian Chen's complexion changed slightly. Space teleportation. Sure enough, as the outside world said, the demon sect still has the existence of the extreme martial realm. Sure enough, it was a wrong choice to provoke Demon Gate. The Taishuan Empire is also certain to be defeated. I have seen Lord Demon Lord. Immediately, Gan Chen hurriedly bowed to Ling Shui with his hands clasped together, with a very humble attitude. Chen Shui beside him also bent down. He just took an extra look at Ling Shui. Is he the demon lord of the demon sect? So young. And the appearance is so good looking. At least, on the surface, he is absolutely satisfactory. Just such a beautiful face and such a noble temperament, no woman would detest it. Just inside, then don't know. After Ling Shui arrived, he just glanced at Qianchen and his daughter. Of course he didn't even need to think about what Qian Chen was doing with his daughter. He just continued to walk up, ignoring the dry dust of clasping his fists and bowing. Walking past Qianchen's father and daughter, he walked straight to the top seat and sat down. Xiao Xiao followed. As for Yan Kui, standing in the hall, with his hands behind his back, he looked coldly at Qianchen and Chen Shui. He was with Ling Shui's father back then, and he was also very irritable. If Ling Shui hadn't said that he had to deal with it himself, he would probably have killed people directly by now. The mere Qinling ancient tribe dare to touch the new demon master of their demon sect. It's courting death. Chen Shui, Chen Shuir. Ling Shui spoke first, and when she opened her mouth, she called out Qinzu's name. It's all right, Lord Demon Lord, whatever you want. Chen Shui and Qianchen turned around and bowed. Dry snow does have two names. Dry snow, dry snow. Chen Shui was taken by her mother, and Chen Shui was taken by his father. Master Demon Lord recognizes the little girl. Gan Chen also turned around and bowed slightly. They have never met each other, but Ling Shui knows her daughter's name. Does this mean there's something going on? Did Ling Shui secretly pay attention to her daughter? Ling Shui just smiled lightly without explaining. Of course I don't know it, it's just recorded in the original book. This girl, or her missing mother, is someone with a lot of background. From the evil race outside the territory. About exotic monsters, void creatures. According to the old-fashioned setting of the original book, it will appear sooner or later. Then all kinds of battles, the lives of the dead. Some special people will play a special role in that era of melee. Chen Shui and her mother are naturally one of them. What else have you brought besides your daughter? Ling Shui then asked. Master Demon Master Mingui. Qian Chen quickly took out the Lingju and offered it with both hands. This is the most precious Lingju of our Qinling ancient clan. One bead, one daughter. Ling Shui stared at Qianchen, and then said calmly, so, do you think these two things are enough to save your Qinlingu clan from the flames of war? As soon as these words came out, Qian Chen's heart sank. So, Ling Shui doesn't like it at all. This is the treasure of their Qinling ancient clan. And his daughter, not to mention number one in the world. If the beauties in the world wanted to rank among the beauties, it would not be difficult for her daughter to rank among the top 10. Does Ling Shui look down on this? My lord, the matter of sending people secretly before, I was so bold and blind. Qian Chen then knelt down directly. Since Lord Demon Lord is safe and sound, and the demon sect has not suffered any loss, please Lord Demon Lord, forgive my ignorance. As soon as these words came out, Ling Shui sneered suddenly. If I am not safe and sound, you will still take your precious daughter and kneel in front of me to beg for mercy. If the assassination is successful this time, what will be the result? The world is divided into magic gates. At that time, I am afraid that the Qinlingu clan will not come to plead guilty, but to carve up the demon sect. So of course Ling Shui wouldn't listen to these things now. As soon as Ling Shui said this, Gan Chen's heart sank and he was speechless. He just knelt on the spot holding the fist-sized Lingju. If Ling Shui does not accept the apology, what will happen to the Qinlingu tribe? If the assassination is successful this time, we, the Qinlingu clan, will not take any action against the demon sect. At this time, Chen Shui spoke. While speaking, she also knelt down on her bare knees. I belong to the Lingu clan, and I have never participated in external battles. I just want to protect myself in this troubled world. The demon gate once trampled on our Chinlingu clan, we certainly don't want that to happen. So, what my family did was to hope that I would not return to the era of slavery. Dare to ask Lord Demon Lord, is there something wrong with doing this? What she said was the truth. It is true that they did the Lingu clan just to protect themselves, in order not to be trampled underfoot. Above the first place, Ling Shui smiled lightly. There is no absolute definition of good and evil, right and wrong. From your point of view, it's not wrong for you to protect yourself. And from my point of view, if you want to touch my demon door, I will destroy your entire Qinling ancient clan in turn. Is there something wrong? While speaking, Ling Shui's blood-red eyes looked down at the dry snow below. Gan Shui immediately lowered her head. Yes, there is nothing wrong with them trying to protect themselves. They offended Ling Shui, and Ling Shui retaliated in turn. Of course it was not wrong. Then, the matter has come to this point, and I, the Ganlingu clan, also sincerely pled guilty. Lord Demon Lord, can't we make everything develop in a better direction? Chen Shui then lowered her head and said, don't you have to fight to the end to be satisfied with the Demon Lord? Peace isn't the smallest cost of war. A better direction. Hee. Ling Shui stood up with a smile, walked down step by step, and walked in front of Chen Shui. Then she bent down and raised her hand to pat her delicate white chin. Do you think it's a better direction for me just because of you? Just because of a bead from your Qinlingu clan? As soon as these words came out, Gan Shui shut her mouth immediately. She knew that her appearance was indeed the best in the world. But she also knew that the aloof demon lord might really not care about her. So even if Ling Shui's words were a bit shocking, she was speechless to refute. If I want this bead from your Qinlingu clan, how can I destroy the entire Qinlingu clan? Can't I get it? Ling Shui continued. If he really wants dry snow, he wants Lingju. After crushing the ancient Qinling clan, it is also his. Hearing Ling Shui's words, both Qianchen and Qinzu's hearts sank. So, has he really insisted on taking action against the Qinlingu clan? Is there really no room for maneuver? Master Demon Lord, if there are any other conditions, my ancient clan will also satisfy them. With Ling Shui resting her chin, Gan Shui continued, I only ask Lord Demon Master to spare the ancient Qinling clan. Hiss, I would rather listen to such words. Ling Shui smiled lightly, let go of Chen Shui, and then thought about it. Let's think about it, what value you Ganlingu clan can have to me. Both Chen Shui and Qianchen didn't speak. They just knelt on the spot quietly, hoping that Ling Shui could really think of something. Then, let them go to the Qinlingu clan. Correct. At this moment, the corners of Ling Shui's mouth suddenly curled up slightly, and his blood-red eyes looked at Chen Shui and said, you have an ancient lamp in your body. Right. As soon as these words came out, Qian Chen's expression changed drastically. How can it be? No one knew about it except himself and his wife. How could Ling Shui know? That's right, there is indeed an ancient lamp in her daughter's body. It was left by his wife. That ancient lamp is a mysterious holy object of the exotic monsters. He didn't know exactly what it was about. It's just that his wife said before that this ancient lamp can not only save his life at critical moments, and he can also control an extremely terrifying army of evil spirits in a sleeping state. But about this matter, Chen Shui is completely unaware. This ancient lamp, unless you are willing, no one can take it out, at least at present, no one in the world can take it out. Ling Shui continued. Chen Shui looked at Ling Shui with a confused face, she had no idea what was going on. Ling Shui just smiled faintly, and looked sideways at Qianchen. Dry dust, it is very clear about this matter. Qian Chen said nothing at this time. Because, that was the only thing Qinzu's mother left for her. The only commemoration. It is also the most important layer of protection. That lamp has a special meaning. More important than anything else. Seeing Qianchen hesitate, Ling Shui didn't say much. Then he turned around and turned his back to the father and daughter. Go back, think clearly, if you agree, when my demon sect attacks the Taishuan Empire, bring troops to support. From now on, you Ganlingu clan will belong to my demon sect. If not, after conquering the Taishuan Empire, I will let the Qinling ancient clan also end up with the Taishuan Empire. These few days, consider it the last grace period I will give you. That light is very important. Able to control an extremely terrifying army of alien demons and evil spirits. In the next few years, there will be a catastrophe. Void and Alien will join forces to invade their world. Of course, Ling Shui is now preparing for the chaos that will come sooner or later. Another point is that ancient lamp can save a life at a critical moment. That is, after death, can be resurrected again. And it was a safe and sound resurrection with full blood. Of course, Ling Shui wanted to get such an unreasonable good thing. Hearing Ling Shui's words, Qianchen and Chen Shui looked at each other. Immediately, Qian Chen nodded first. Yes. Thank you, Lord Demon Lord, for your grace. Chen Shui also replied. Thank you, Lord Demon Master. Immediately afterwards, the father and daughter stood up. After saying goodbye, they turned and left together. Ling Shui smiled lightly, and of course they would make the right choice what to do next. This Chiming ancient clan has an extremely remote history, so it is the right choice to take it under your command. Yan Kui, who had been silent all this time, spoke. The strength of the Chiming ancient clan is not weak either. Although they do not have the existence of extreme martial arts, they are still the top forces in the entire Yuanyang continent. There are about a dozen Shenyuanjing, which is still manageable. The addition of such a force can indeed make the demon sect stronger. Ling Shui's approach is correct. Back then, when the forces of the world besieged your father, the ancient Chiming clan was not among them. Let them off once and benefit from it. This is the best way. Yan Kui continued. Back then, many strong men besieged Ling Shui's father, including the Taishuan Empire and others. But the Qinlingu tribe did not participate. Based on this alone, it is indeed possible to give them a little forgiveness from the Qinlingu clan. Ling Shui just smiled faintly. What he wanted, the most important thing, was that ancient lamp. The Chiming ancient clan can be regarded as a bonus. You are back. At this moment, a spirit body floated from outside the hall. You who agreed to forge a physical body for me, don't go back on your word. What came was naturally the translucent soul body, Yu. Behind Yu, there is Yu Yaoyao. The entire demon sect was relocated here, and all the good things were transported here. Yu asked Yu Yaoyao to take her to search. Luckily, the materials for forging the body can be found here in moment. Old Yan. From behind, Yu Yaoyao noticed Yan Kui as soon as she looked. Where did Ling Shui find this old man? During the war that year, 8 of the 12 heavenly demons in the demon sect died, leaving only 4. The 4 of them lived in seclusion afterwards, and no one knew where they were going. Unexpectedly, Ling Shui actually brought him back. I've seen old Yan. Yu Yaoyao then greeted very politely. First of all, Yan Kui is the previous 12 demons of the heavenly demon, the elder. Secondly, Yan Kui was a person who had been with Ling Shui's father in life and death, and he was an old hero of the demon sect. Without them, there would be no magic gate ever and now. Therefore, when facing these old heroes, the people of Moment seemed to be more respectful. Yan Kui glanced at Yu Yaoyao, and then said, the 12 demons of your generation have not yet existed in the realm of extreme martial arts, right? You have to work harder. What is the use of you if the waves behind push the waves ahead? Yu Yaoyao accepted Yan Kui's untactful words sincerely. Back then Ling Shui's father was all-powerful, and so were the 12 demons. Now that Ling Shui is all-powerful, if the 12 demons of their generation are not good enough, they are indeed not qualified to be Ling Shui's right-hand man. There are quite a few guys who haven't returned yet, maybe, they have reached the state of extreme martial arts. Yu Yaoyao continued. This generation of heavenly demons and 12 demons were lazy before because they could not see the future of the demon sect. There are still many who have not come back. Several hadn't seen each other for years. Maybe, among those few people, some people have already reached the state of extreme martial arts. It's best. Yan Kui nodded. Your magic gate seems to be quite powerful. At this time, Yu spoke again. It makes people feel a little bottomless. Ling Shui and the others just smiled. Of course, the magic door is unfathomable, otherwise, what would be used to step on everyone's heads? Hey, the materials are all here, hurry up and forge a body for me. Yu then took out the collected materials. They are all precious items in the treasure pavilions of the magic gate. Putting it outside, it will take a lot of money to collect it. Since the Lord Demon Lord has spoken, of course it must be done. So I took her to search, and it happened that all the materials were collected. Yu Yaoyao smiled. These precious materials are all priceless. But Ling Shui has already spoken, so of course it must be done. So, she took Yu Yu to search boldly. Ling Shui didn't say much, just glanced at Yu Yaoyao. Leave this matter to you, as soon as possible. Okay, it must be completed before attacking the Taishuan Empire. Yu Yaoyao nodded. Then he took Yu Yu to find a place to forge his body. Qinling Ancient Tribe. At this time, everyone in the entire ancient clan was waiting for Qianshan's return with a heavy heart. Everyone is hoping that what awaits will be good news. But unfortunately, when Qianshan came back, Chen Shui was still by his side. Lingju is still with me. Seeing this, everyone's heart sank. Could it be that even though the patriarch took the initiative to send the Lingju and the young patriarch to the door, did the demon master of the demon sect refuse? He doesn't even look down on Lingju. Can't even look down on Dry Snow. That being the case, what will the Jiyu clan do? Shrine. Qianshan once again summoned all the high-level officials of the entire Qinlingu clan. After a long time of deliberation, he finally made a decision. Call on the strong men from all sides of the clan to prepare to participate in the battle of the Taishuan Empire. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expressions changed slightly. Do you still want to join forces with the Taishuan Empire to resist the demon sect? Is there still no way out after all? No. However, Gan Chen shook his head. We support the demon sect. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. So, isn't it with the Taishuan Empire fighting against the demon sect? But to attack the Taishuan Empire together with the demon sect. This is the only chance for the ancients to survive. Gan Chen continued. This is the end of the matter, there is no other choice. If you want to protect the entire ancient clan, you have to join the magic gate. Only agree to Ling Shui's request. All the senior leaders of the entire Qinling ancient clan looked at each other in blank dismay, and then nodded heavily. That's right, if you stand on the side of Momen, it can be regarded as making up for the previous mistakes, so that you can get the forgiveness of Momen. That being the case, prepare for battle. Prepare to fight side by side with Demon Gate. ... After Gan Chen ordered everything, he brought Qian Shui back to his residence. It's time to let her know some things that Chen Shui didn't know before. 20 years ago, Qianshan accidentally saved a woman. Fall in love and get married. Then Dry Snow was born. It was only later that Qianshan realized that the wife he had married was not human at all, but from a foreign land. Of course, despite this, the feelings between them are also real. Later, due to some special reasons, his wife had to leave. As for the specific reason, his wife did not make it clear. But Qian Chen guessed that it should be some special things from a foreign land. Before leaving, his wife left a sacred object in Qinzu's body. Since then, his wife has never returned. Qian Chen can only tell everyone that his wife is missing. Of course Chen Shui also thinks that her mother is missing. Unbeknownst to her, she actually returned to a foreign land. There is indeed an ancient lamp in your body. After telling Chen Shui everything, Qianshan sighed. That is the only memorial left by your mother. It is also the greatest protection for you. That ancient lamp has the ability to bring the dead back to life. And can control a demon army. After hearing this, Chen Shui fell into deep thought. So, my mother was not missing at all. His mother is still alive. And I have half of the blood, which does not belong to humans. Then, how did Ling Shui know about this? Dad, you never told anyone. Chen Shui continued to ask. This is very problematic. Even I don't know about this matter. How did Ling Shui know? Gan Chen shook his head. I can't figure it out either. I'm afraid the ability of this devil is beyond our imagination. Ling Shui can know this kind of secret, but who knows what method he used? Of course, Chen Shui couldn't figure it out even more. She just thought for a moment, and then said, Father, can we still see my mother? In her memory, that beautiful and gentle face was already more than 10 years ago. She was only 6 or 7 years old when her mother left. Hearing this, Gan Chen smiled bitterly. This is probably, there is no possibility. After all, Qinzu's mother, is outside the domain. At the end of the world. That kind of place is beyond their reach. Foreign land, void, and our aura world, the three are currently irrelevant. With our ability, we can't go to other places. Gan Chen then sighed. The dangers of foreign lands are beyond their imagination. If they go to that kind of place, I'm afraid it's no different from a lamb falling into a pack of wolves. Then, what about Ling Shui? Can he go? Chen Shui said suddenly. As soon as these words came out, Qian Chen's complexion changed slightly. If it's Ling Shui, if it's demon sect, maybe it can be done. After all, when the demon sect was at its strongest, the void and the foreign land had to bow their heads in front of the demon sect. Since he wants that ancient lamp, it means he has plans to go to a foreign land, doesn't he? Chen Shui continued. That ancient lamp can control a sleeping army of evil spirits. If you don't go to a foreign land, how can you wake up that army? As soon as these words came out, Qian Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It is indeed the truth. So, Ling Shui really has that kind of plan. Momen not only wants to dominate this side of the world. Even, Ling Shui wants to insert the banner of the demon gate into the outer space and void. That's right, a person like him should have such ambitions. It is hard to say whether the person with greater ability has greater responsibility, but the ambition must be greater. Father, if we join the demon sect, won't we be able to march into foreign lands with him in the future? Dry Snow continued. This is the only chance to see her mother. Follow the magic gate, follow Ling Shui, they can enter that dangerous place. At this moment, Chen Shui has already made plans. From now on, I will work for the demon sect. Sooner or later, I will be able to see my mother again. Hearing Qinzu's words, Qianchen nodded after a little thought. Perhaps, there is indeed a chance. It is absolutely impossible to do it with the ability of the Linggu people. But with the ability of the demon sect, it is completely possible. Father, how can I take out the ancient lamp in my body? Chen Shui then asked. In that case, agree to Ling Shui. Take this ancient lamp as a gift and join the magic gate. Gan Chen took a deep breath, and continued. It's in your sea of qi, no one can take it out except yourself. In the sea of air. But I've never felt it. Chen Shui frowned. Close your eyes and sense carefully. That thing is just hidden, but it's still in your body. Gan Chen said. Chen Shui nodded. Then he sat cross-legged on the spot, closed his eyes, and carefully searched in his sea of energy. Not long after, she did sense a hidden existence in her sea of qi. A lamp, an ancient lamp like lotus-colored glaze exudes 9-colored brilliance, which is especially sacred. After a moment, she opened her eyes. Then he raised his little hand, and his mind moved. Immediately, the 9-colored glazed ancient lamp hidden in the sea of air slowly appeared in her hands. This is what Ling Shui wants. This is the only thing they can negotiate terms with Ling Shui. This is also the mother of Chen Shui, the only thing left to Chen Shui. Since he can still see his mother, since he can truly kill the entire Qinlingu clan. There is no way to go. Only this one. When the time comes, bring the Qinlingu army to support them. At the same time, give this thing to Ling Shui. On the other side, the Taishuan Empire, the Imperial capital. The Imperial capital is now empty, and almost all the people have left. It looks like a desolate abandoned city. Fortunately, the Imperial army is still there, barely adding some vitality to this abandoned city. At this time, on top of the bustling palace wall, a figure in a dragon robe stood with his hands behind his back. Looking at the bustling Imperial capital in the past, but now empty, he looked melancholy. One word from the demon sect caused the entire empire to almost collapse. His Majesty. At this time, a figure came from behind and knelt down on one knee. This person was wearing a battle armor with a long sword on his waist. The great general of the Taishuan Empire, Huang Hao. How? Yi Dingtian asked slowly. The forces of all parties are unwilling to take action. In the empire, the powerhouses of all parties are also unwilling to take action. General Huang Hao bowed his head and said, and many people from all sides of the empire have defected. Now, this is the situation. Those great powers who fought together with the Taishuan Empire before, the Qinling Ancient Clan, the Xuanmai Tianzong, etc., refused to help the Taishuan Empire. And within the empire, the Lingshu sect and other big forces were also unwilling to make a move. Even some people who originally belonged to the empire defected from the empire at this critical time. Hearing this, Yi Dingtian's heart sank slightly. He knew it would be this result, but when it happened, it was still a little hard to accept. He then let out a long sigh. With no support inside and outside the empire, there is only one result waiting for the empire. Perish. The Taishuan Empire must not be the opponent of the demon sect. There is not even room for maneuver. They all refused to make a move because they thought there was still room for maneuver. It's a pity, with the style of the demon sect, how could they be spared? Yi Dingtian continued. That's right, I heard that Qianchen, the patriarch of the Chiming Clan, took the initiative to look for Ling Shui, but he returned in vain. Huang Hao continued. Now that the entire Chiming ancient clan is preparing for war, I don't know whether they will support the Taishuan Empire by then. It's just an ancient Chiming clan. Even if they help the empire, it won't change anything. Yi Dingtian sighed. He is very clear about the strength of the Chiming ancient clan, which is similar to that of the Taishuan Empire. The combination of the two forces is also impossible to be the opponent of the demon sect. Therefore, whether the Chiming clan supports them or not will not change anything. A great country with a 1,000-year heritage, it's finally coming to an end. Yi Dingtian sighed and looked at the entire imperial capital. General Huang Hao also lowered his head and said nothing. Things have come to this, what else? Notify Yan Hui, let him take care of Fenger. Yi Dingtian continued. The matter has come to this, it is time to let Fenger know everything. As soon as these words came out, Huang Hao raised his head immediately. Of course he also knew that Yi Dingtian had an illegitimate son, the prince of the empire, Yi Feng. Unfortunately, as a father, I have never met him formally. Yi Dingtian continued with a wry smile and said, tell him, live well, and one day rebuild the empire. As long as he is still alive, the empire will not end. Huang Hao nodded heavily. Yes. Now, there is indeed no way out. We can only leave a single seedling of the royal family and let him live well. One day in the future, rebuild the empire and avenge the empire. Perhaps, this is God's will. Yi Dingtian then sighed. The empire is doomed, and he will become the holy flame of the new empire. Because he had an illegitimate child, so, the empire will not end completely. This is God's will. As long as Yi Feng is still alive, sooner or later, the empire can be rebuilt again. The 1,000-year incense of the Taishuan Empire has not been extinguished. In Yi Dingtian's view, this is Yi Feng's mission, and perhaps it is also a test given to Yi Feng by the heavens. The task of restoring the country will fall on him. Go, let Yan Hui protect him. Yi Dingtian then beckoned. Yes, Huang Hao nodded, then got up and left. The empire is facing catastrophe today, but the empire will not really perish. Because the blood of the royal family is still there. The prince is still here. The other side, ever since Yi Feng left Lingshu sect with Yi Yu, he hasn't gone back. Of course they didn't know that they had been expelled from the Lingshu sect. But there is another thing they can know. That is, the Taishuan Empire is about to be attacked by the demon sect. After all, this matter has now spread throughout the entire empire, and everyone knows about it. Therefore, the entire empire is now in panic. In order not to be affected, many people chose to leave the Taishuan Empire and the place where they originally lived in order to avoid being affected. This caused the entire empire to be somewhat inexplicably desolate. The streets and alleys that used to be lively are now sparsely populated. Yi Feng and Yi Jin wandered the streets where they used to play. It's just a pity that I can no longer see the fireworks like before. Demon Gate, the whole empire has become like this. These places are no fun at all. Yi Jin pursed her lips and muttered. In her opinion, Momin's behavior is too much. Wasn't it just being assassinated by several major forces? His demon sect didn't lose anything, and his demon master Ling Shui didn't lose anything. Why do you have to take revenge? Wouldn't it be good to just pass by like this? Mean, whatever, this world is full of struggles, as long as we live in peace. Yi Feng rested his hands on his head, with an expression of nothing to do with him. Brother Yi Feng, tell me, if the demon sect destroys the Taishuan Empire, will there be a massacre of the country? Yi Yu thought about it. at that time, will everyone in the entire empire not be able to escape? Then neither will we be able to escape. Of course not. To kill so many people, do you have to kill them until the year of the monkey? Yi Feng shook his head. At most, it is to kill all the people in the Imperial court. That's good. Yi Yu finally let go of her heart. There's an inn ahead that's still open, let's go get something to eat. At this moment, Yi Feng suddenly noticed that on a deserted street, an inn was still open to welcome guests. Aha! Yi Jin nodded to lead Yu. Then the two walked up together. There are still a few guys in the inn. There is also a charmingly dressed proprietress standing at the counter thinking about it. This inn is quite big. Yi Jin glanced around. I don't know if it's because there are no people or some other reason, but the inn looks particularly spacious. Yeah, it's pretty big. Yi Feng was grinning, staring at the chest of the proprietress of the shopkeeper. Proud, round and so eye-catching. Brother Yi Feng, Yi Yu gave him a sharp look. Is it that pretty? In the future, I will grow up to this size for you to see enough. Hey, Yi Feng chuckled, and then waved. Miss Boss, if you have any delicious food, serve it to us. Oh, you too, our consumption here is not low. The proprietress twisted her waist and walked up. All of you, both of you, are you sure? As soon as these words came out, Yi Feng and Yi Yu's expressions turned a little ugly. Where is there such a shop? Look down on guests as soon as you come up. Why is it so straightforward to do business these days? The two of you don't seem to be from high families. The proprietress came over and looked at Yi Feng and Yi Yu. So what? Don't look down on people, it's not like we don't give money. Yi Yu said directly. Hee, you guys are rich. The proprietress smiled charmingly. Of course, isn't it just the money for a meal? Yi Yu said proudly. Okay, since you have money. The corner of the landlady's mouth suddenly curled up. Then there was a wave. Boom. Immediately, the guys at the inn closed the door directly. This sudden scene made Yi Feng and Yi Yu's complexions change slightly. What does it mean? Hee, you two, this magic door is about to be closed, who is still stupid enough to open the door for business? The proprietress sneered. The guys around surrounded Yi Feng and Yi Yu in the blink of an eye. Only then did Yi Feng and Yi Jin understand. So, this inn is not open to welcome guests at all. They are planning to get more oil and water before the big war comes. Open the door to kill customers. In the end times, such situations are very common. They are planning to come and grab one by one. So I had a bad attitude from the beginning, and asked if I had money from the beginning. Hands on when asked if they are rich and not born special. Leave all the valuable things on you. If you keep them, you may survive. The proprietress got to the point with a sneer on her face. Hee, it's really bad luck. Yi Feng let out a heck, and the spiritual energy in his body began to circulate little by little. Earth Spirit Realm, little brother, I advise you not to be impulsive. Obediently, so as not to suffer that flesh and blood. The proprietress sneered. She could tell Yi Feng's strength at a glance. She could tell from the moment Yi Feng and Yi Jin came in. These two people don't have any strength, and they don't have any background by looking at their outfits. It's this kind of person with no strength and no background, it's best to grab it. Chapter 51. The Demon Gate will soon attack the Empire. Of course, she planned to grab more treasures in the last few days. If you go outside in the future, you can gain a foothold. And brothers and sisters like Yi Feng are the best fat to eat. Brother Yi Feng. A look of fear immediately appeared on Yi Yu's face, and she hid behind Yi Feng. Look, you don't think about yourself, you have to think about this little sister. The proprietress looked at Yi Yu, and then said, leave all the valuables on your body and leave. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. We have nothing valuable on us. Yi Feng replied, we don't look like rich people, do we? Didn't you say you have money just now? How much you have counts. The proprietress smiled faintly. At this juncture, of course, one can grab one and count as one, and as much as can be grabbed as counted. More is never too much, and less is never too little. There are a lot of valuable things on him, I'm afraid you don't have the ability to take them. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. This sudden voice made the faces of the proprietress and the others change slightly. Who is it? With their cultivation base, they couldn't tell where the voice came from. Yi Feng and Yi Jin, of course they couldn't hear it either. Boom. The next moment, there was a bang, and a vast aura descended from the sky. Afterwards, the entire inn was instantly blown away. No debris was left, just an open space. When the sun came down, Yi Feng, Yi Yu, and the proprietress and others stood in the open space. This sudden scene made everyone's expressions change drastically. This is, what happened? What kind of terrifying momentum is this? It's just coercion that blows a gorgeous inn into pieces in an instant. Swish. The next moment, a figure appeared in front of Yi Feng and Yi Yu as if teleporting. It was a middle-aged man in black. The terrifying aura on his body made Yi Feng and the others feel a little breathless. Who are you? Opposite, the proprietress had a sullen face. This person's cultivation is probably far above all of them. Roll. The man in black just said something coldly. Boom. Accompanied by his voice, the terrifying aura almost knocked the inn proprietress and others to the ground. Several people just took a few steps back again and again, trying to stabilize their figures. Then, he looked at the man in black with fearful eyes. After pondering for a moment, they had no choice but to turn around hastily, and they turned and left together in desperation. The strength of the man in black is obviously more than one level higher than theirs, so, it is better to run for his life. After the proprietress left with many of her subordinates, the man in black turned around and looked at Yi Feng. Thank you for your help. Dare to be your excellency. Yi Feng and Yi Yu clasped their fists slightly. Subordinate Yan Liang, see your highness. The man in black knelt down directly towards Yi Feng. This scene immediately made Yi Feng and Yi Yu stunned. Your highness, what does it mean? What your majesty? Your excellency, have you admitted the wrong person? Yi Feng then said with a dry smile. Your highness, where is your highness? The subordinates will naturally not admit their mistakes. Yan Liang said slowly. After you were born, you were brought up by the Yi family. You never knew about your biological parents. Yi Feng was speechless for a while. He did know that he and Yi Yu were not biological siblings. He has also been looking for his biological parents. But he never expected that his real identity was actually the prince. You are the Taishuan Empire, His Royal Highness, the only prince. Yan Liang then said in a deep voice. Both Yi Feng and Yi Yu were shocked at this moment. Who would have thought that Yi Feng, who is usually idle, would be a noble prince? Etc. Yi Feng then suddenly frowned. If I am the prince of the Taishuan Empire, then, the demon sect is about to attack the Taishuan Empire, so what? The Taishuan Empire is about to be destroyed, what kind of prince is he? What is the use of this prince, who can neither enjoy the glory and wealth, nor the beauties of the harem? And now that the empire is in great trouble, as a prince, what should he do? It is precisely because of this that His Majesty notified me to tell you about this moment. Yan Liang continued. If not, Your Majesty didn't intend to let you know your life experience so early. I wanted you to practice more among the people. Yi Feng frowned stubbornly. The demon sect is about to attack, so what's the use of telling me? Naturally, let His Highness understand. His Highness has a special status, and the restoration of the empire in the future will all depend on His Highness. Yan Liang said in a deep voice. The empire may not be able to escape this catastrophe, but as long as His Highness is here, the empire will not be completely destroyed. So, you want me to hide? Go to the demon gate for revenge in the future. Hearing this, Yi Feng smiled bitterly. I have been looking for my biological parents all this time, but now that I know my life experience, you let me watch them die like this. As soon as these words came out, Yan Liang's complexion changed slightly. So, what does he want to do? If I were the prince, how could I watch my empire fall? How could I watch my family die? Yi Feng then said in a deep voice, I'm going to the imperial capital. No matter what, I have to meet my biological parents. As soon as these words came out, Yan Liang's complexion changed immediately. Your Highness, now that the demon sect is about to attack, you are the only incense for the empire, how can you go to that dangerous place? As a prince, how can I stand by and watch when the empire is in trouble? Yi Feng said in a deep voice. Could it be possible that His Highness can still participate in the battle? That's the magic gate. Yan Liang said bluntly. With His Highness's current strength, in front of the demon sect, even ants can't be counted. What's the use of going? So what? Yi Feng frowned and said, since I am a prince, I should live and die with the empire. Yan Liang lowered his head. Although His Royal Highness is reckless, he is also a man of righteousness and vigor. Your Highness, I understand your feelings. Yan Liang went on to say. But, now the empire is doomed, only by retaining the royal blood can the empire have hope of revival. Forbearance is what you should do most. Forbearance. This is cowardice. Yi Feng snorted coldly, and turned around immediately after saying that. My son, let's go to the imperial capital. Yeah, Yi Jin nodded heavily. Anyway, she would go wherever Yi Feng went. Swish. But at the next moment, Yan Liang's figure swooped in to block them. If His Highness insists on going, this subordinate will only be offended. Yan Liang said in a deep voice. If you insist on keeping me, then leave my body. Yi Feng said firmly with a sullen face. As soon as these words came out, Yan Liang's complexion changed again. Is this prince so persistent? Can't you be more rational? Do you have to be so impulsive? Immediately afterwards, Yi Feng walked forward with strides. Of course Yan Liang couldn't stop him. Yi Feng threatened with his life, of course he didn't dare to stop him. Immediately, he just gritted his teeth and followed Yi Feng. Together with Yi Feng, rushed to the Taishuan Empire, the imperial capital. I hope that His Royal Highness can survive the chaos of war by then. It's true, others don't know that he is a prince, and he doesn't have much strength. So, Ling Shui probably wouldn't do anything to him. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, there is only 1 day left before the demon sect attacks the Taishuan Empire. Canyon Tianshan, the main altar of the demon sect. The demon army has basically assembled now. Just wait for tomorrow to enter Taishuan Emperor capital. At this time, Ling Shui found Yan Kui on the top of a mountain in that demon gate. Ask Yan Kui for a power that can tear apart the space. Although Ling Shui already has a fighting power comparable to that of the first realm of extreme martial arts, he is only at the peak of the divine origin realm after all. It doesn't have the ability to tear space yet. Therefore, he plans to use this battle, with the help of Yan Luoxi, to break through the realm of extreme martial arts. Yan Kui didn't know what Ling Shui was thinking. Where is the young master going? I can just accompany you, why bother? He didn't understand why Ling Shui wanted him to give Ling Shui the ability to tear space. If Ling Shui wanted to go somewhere, he could take Ling Shui there in an instant. It's not where I'm going, I have my own magic. Ling Shui just smiled lightly without explaining too much. What he wanted was the same as the power he had borrowed from Xiaoshang Yu before. Just a proof of a breakthrough in one's own cultivation. Yan Kui looked at Ling Shui, but didn't ask any further questions. With a flick of his fingers, a touch of extreme martial arts power merged into Ling Shui's palm. At the critical moment, if the young master needs it, this space-tearing power may indeed be of great help. Yan Kui said slowly. He only thought that Ling Shui was planning to let him give Ling Shui a critical moment to escape. Ling Shui smiled faintly. With this one-time hole card, Yan Luoxi can make Yan Luoxi think that her strength has reached the realm of extreme martial arts. It can also make Yan Luoxi think that she still has a special ability. So, Yan Luoxi had to be present when attacking the Taishuan Empire this time. She has to go if she goes, or if she doesn't go. At this moment, there was a buzzing sound from the magic gate. Then a golden light suddenly shot out. In the golden light, a slim and plump body stood quietly. It was Yu Yu Yu. Yu Yu Yu's body has been forged. She has officially been resurrected. It's a pity that only the cultivation base of the Shenyuan realm does not have the strength of the extreme martial arts realm as the Chinese New Year. But that's good too. It was just a remnant soul, and it was a great fortune for her to be able to resurrect. Ha 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 ha, I'm finally resurrected, shake the world. Yu Yu Yu's loud laughter resounded in the air. Listening to Ling Shui's ears, it's more or less secondary. What's going on? Why is it so heavy? In midair, Yu 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 then looked down at herself. This new body retains her original appearance, but there are some differences. For example, the breasts have grown a lot. What good did you do? She then looked down at Yu Yaoyao. Ling Shui asked Yu Yaoyao to help him recover his body, but Yu Yaoyao became bigger for him. Believe me, Lord Demon Lord likes this. Below, Yu Yaoyao smiled charmingly. I didn't do it to please him. Yu Yu muttered something in a low voice, and glanced at Ling Shui on the mountain not far away. Then, the figure swept towards Ling Shui. Landing in front of Ling Shui, she turned around first, then smiled at Ling Shui. How is it? It is obviously an old monster who has lived for an unknown number of years, and it is obviously a plump and mature figure. But every move reveals the innocence of a lively girl. Looking at this immature female emperor, Ling Shui just smiled. Not bad. Hearing Ling Shui's barely complimented words, a satisfied smile appeared on Yu Yu's face. So Yu Yaoyao's design does make sense. It seems that Ling Shui really likes this. Currently, you can only have the cultivation level of the divine origin realm, and you will gradually improve in the future. Yu Yaoyao's figure also came at this time. Thank you, I've been waiting for so many years, it's good to be resurrected. Yu Yu nodded, not dissatisfied at all. From now on, you will be a member of my demon sect. Of course, if you don't want to stay in the demon sect, you can leave now. Ling Shui then said lightly. Ha, you want to drive me away. But Yu Yu pouted. I'm not leaving. Aren't you greedy for my beauty? You haven't even. She didn't finish her sentence, but she had finished what she wanted to say. Ling Shui didn't even want her yet. In fact, she said that Ling Shui was greedy for her beauty. In fact, from the first time we met, she was coveting Ling Shui's beauty. Then go get ready and fight with my demon sect army tomorrow. Ling Shui went on to say something, then turned and left. Go directly to Ling Shu's sect alone. Hey, Yu Yu frowned slightly, looking at Ling Shui's leaving back. What are you doing? I have just been resurrected, and my physical body has just recovered. I thought that Ling Shui would have a one night with me on a whim. So he just left. What are you so busy with? Don't you want to take advantage of the freshness of the freshly baked beauty? The young master has already reached the age of marriage, and it is time to find a partner. At this time, Yan Kui said suddenly with his hands behind his back. As Ling Shui's elder, he really had to worry about Ling Shui's affairs. What if in the future I saw the demon sect dominating the world, Ling Shui got married and got a family, and had a few more children? He also lived up to the entrustment of Ling Shui's father back then. As soon as Yan Kui said this, Yu Yaoyao's eyes suddenly lit up. I think so too. Then, Yan Lao thinks, I am suitable. Yan Kui just glanced at Yu Yaoyao, and then said bluntly, you are only suitable to be a concubine. Yu Yaoyao asked directly, and Yan Kui also spoke directly. Yu Yaoyao frowned suddenly. This old guy has always been so rude when speaking. But she also has nothing to say, because sometimes she knows it too well. She may be able to win Ling Shui's favor, but she is really only suitable for being a concubine. Me, what about me? I was born as an emperor. Is it worthy of him? At this time, Yu Yu suddenly asked again. Yan Kui glanced at Yu Yu, and then said unceremoniously, you are only suitable to be a concubine. Although this Yu Yu is indeed a female emperor, she is just a little girl in all aspects of her temperament. It is not suitable to be the wife of the devil. Hearing Yan Kui's words, Yu Yu pouted immediately. Even if I am an emperor, I am only suitable to be a concubine, so who is worthy to be Ling Shui's official wife? Does it have to be the same strength and status as Ling Shui to be worthy of him? But in the whole world, where can I find such a woman? In the whole world, where is there an existence at the peak of the divine origin realm? Where is there an existence with a more noble status than Ling Shui? Ling Shu sect. Tomorrow is the time for the demon sect to attack the Taishuan Empire. This matter has nothing to do with the Ling Shu sect, and the Ling Shu sect does not intend to participate in it. Let them fight on their own. However, this is a rare battle after all. It's okay to join in the fun or something, right? Don't fight, just watch. Thus, Lu Wenwan approached Yan Luoxi. Tomorrow is the big battle, do you want to see it? Yan Luoxi looked at Lu Wenwan curiously. What catches your eyes? Isn't it just that they fought back and forth, and then the magic gate won a big victory? This is a war without suspense. Want to see him bloodbath the empire? Yan Luoxi then said softly, I'm not interested. This kind of big scene can't be seen casually. Lu Wenwan smiled and said, go and have a look, we are just watching the battle, not participating in it. Anyway, she really wanted to see it. Go and see how an empire with 1,000 years of heritage fell. There must be many others who think like her. Tomorrow, there will definitely be many people who don't make a move to watch the battle. If Master is interested, go by yourself. Yan Luoxi replied. Anyway, she is not interested to watch Ling Shui kill all directions. Watching the empire blood flow into rivers. What's so good about that? Oh, it's not with you. I'm safer. Lu Wenwan suddenly laughed and said, what if he hits the head at that time, and even the spectators are wiped out? After all, no one can be sure about Ling Shui's temper. What if he is really unhappy and pulls all the spectators into it? Take Yan Luoxi by your side, be sure to be safe. Because Ling Shui won't hurt Yan Luoxi. Hearing this, Yan Luoxi frowned slightly. Where is he so crazy? Although Ling Shui has a domineering temper, he is not completely unreasonable, right? He just went to watch the battle, sitting in the spectator area, he will be dragged to the trial. Isn't that crazy? Anyway. You go, make sure nothing goes wrong. Lu Wenwan said with a smile. I am coming too. At this time, a voice came from behind, and Lu Chengshuang came up. At this moment, she was looking at Yan Luoxi with a curious look. Because she couldn't understand the conversation between Lu Wenwan and Yan Luoxi just now. Why did Yan Luoxi go together to ensure safety? Is it because Yan Luoxi has absolute strength? That is of course impossible. This time Yan Luoxi only reached the profound sky mirror after returning from Kenyan Tianshan. Well, there is only one reason. Yan Luoxi is very special, so special that Ling Shui won't do anything to her. But, why? Why didn't the demon master of the demon sect hurt Yan Luoxi? About the matter between Yan Luoxi and Ling Shui, currently only Lu Wenwan and people from Momen know. Of course, Orange Cream doesn't understand. But I heard that it was Yan Luoxi who got the Chenkin sword art first when he was in Kenyan Tianshan, but Ling Shui snatched it. Could it be because of this incident that Ling Shui still takes special care of her? Ling Shui is not the kind of person who will feel that he owes others favors casually. This is not a favor, is it? Senior Sister Yan, why don't you go together? Didn't the Demon Lord steal your Chenkin sword art before? You really don't want to go and see it? Lu Chengshuang then said. What if he loses? Hearing this, Yan Luoxi shook her head. Taishuan Empire, what will Ling Shui use to defeat him? Mom, if Senior Sister Yan doesn't go, we can go. Lu Chengshuang then said to Lu Wenwan. Why would Mother say, it's safe to go, Senior Sister Yan? Lu Wenwan just glanced at Yan Luoxi and didn't say much about Lu Chengshuang's cliché method. For Yan Luoxi, this was an unspeakable matter after all. Are you really not going? Lu Wenwan just continued to ask. Yan Luoxi shook her head, there was no need to go. You have to go. At this moment, a familiar voice suddenly sounded. Then, Ling Shui's figure was already standing at the door at some point. Ling Shui. Lu Wenwan's complexion changed drastically. Why did he come to Ling Shu sect? Swish swish swish. At the same time, from behind Ling Shui, many experts from the Ling Shu sect also rushed out at the same time. Just now they noticed that someone had broken into the Ling Shu sect, so they all arrived immediately. However, when they all rushed out and saw that the other party turned out to be the demon master of the demon sect, they were suddenly at a loss for what to do. What happened? Why did the demon master of the demon sect come to the Ling Shu sect? If it was Ling Shui, of course their entire Ling Shu sect would be completely useless. Not to mention Ling Shui's tyrannical strength, even the former Ling Shui who had no cultivation level, the Ling Shu sect would never dare to move. In the main hall, Yan Luoxi also raised her head, and her eyes met Ling Shui's. What did Ling Shui say just now? She has to go. What's the meaning? Master Demon Lord, you want to come to our Ling Shu sect even though the battle is imminent. Is there something important? At this time, Lu Wenwan spoke first. While speaking, she waved her hand, and those Ling Shu sect powerhouses who surrounded Ling Shui all turned and left. Since the other party is Ling Shui, of course there is no need to do anything. And he came alone, so, there should be no malice. Tomorrow's battle, come with me to the capital of the Taishuan Empire. Ling Shui kept looking at Yan Luoxi. Yan Luoxi frowned slightly. Why should I go with you? What is this Ling Shui thinking? Is it okay to participate in that battle with him? My own strength is only the profound sky mirror, so it won't be of much use. There are so many strong men in his magic sect, why should he bring one of his own? You refuse. Ling Shui looked at Yan Luoxi with blood-red eyes, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. I refuse. Yan Luoxi replied directly with a cold and pretty face. Originally, she wanted to go or not, but Ling Shui asked her to go, so of course she just didn't go. Why should I listen to Ling Shui? Okay, I'll flatten your entire Ling Shu sect until I kill everyone, and then I'll take you there. Ling Shui then said with a sneer. As soon as these words came out, Yan Luoxi frowned. Lu Wenwan and Lu Chengshuang also changed their complexions drastically. But don't, the Ling Shu sect only has 3 Shenyuan realms, and they are all in the early stage. If Ling Shui had really made a move, the entire Ling Shu sect would have been razed to the ground with that sword strike on Kengyun Tianshan. He alone is fully capable of that. Just kidding, must be kidding. Lu Wenwan was already praying in her heart, praying that Ling Shui only said such words on purpose. Ling Shui, what exactly are you trying to do? Yan Luoxi stared at Ling Shui with a sullen face. What I want to do is my business, you just have to be obedient. Ling Shui smiled faintly. Of course, you can say it again now. You refuse. While speaking, Ling Shui slowly raised his palms, blood-red sword energy was already flowing little by little between his palms. Yan Luoxi stared at Ling Shui, of course she didn't dare to speak again. She knew very well that with Ling Shui's temperament, she might really be able to do it. To him, destroying the entire Ling Shu sect was just a matter of waving his hands. Lu Wenwan and Lu Chengshuang also quickly looked at Yan Luoxi for help. Just promise him, there is nothing to lose if you go. What do you want me to do? Yan Luoxi didn't refuse anymore, but just asked. I told you, you just need to be obedient. Ling Shui smiled faintly. Yan Luoxi didn't speak anymore, just stared at Ling Shui, staring at his blood-red eyes. She is not reconciled, what kind of shit is obedient? But she didn't dare to refuse Ling Shui. Now, nod. Ling Shui looked at Yan Luoxi and said. Yan Luoxi stared at Ling Shui. After hesitating for a moment, he had no choice but to turn his head away, and reluctantly uttered 2 words, go. Very good. Ling Shui laughed and put down his hands while speaking. Seeing him put down his hand, Lu Wenwan and Lu Chengshuang breathed a sigh of relief. So far so good. Luckily, Yan Luoxi didn't act too emotionally. Then, see you tomorrow. Ling Shui then turned around and said coldly, you'd better be there as soon as possible. When the time comes, if you're not there, you will be at your own risk. He is serious about this sentence. If Yan Luoxi dared to lie to him, dared to play tricks on him, it would be a waste of his preparations. Then he might really get angry. At that time, I'm afraid I won't care about Yan Luoxi's feelings anymore. Yan Luoxi didn't speak, just glanced at Ling Shui and looked away. Ling Shui then didn't linger, and just swept away. The 3 of Yan Luoxi were left standing in the hall. What is he thinking? Lu Chengshuang looked confused. Why does Ling Shui want Yan Luoxi to come tomorrow? Yan Luoxi has nothing to do with the Demon Gate. Besides, even if it has something to do with Yan Luoxi's strength, will it have any effect on being there or not? Who knows about him? Yan Luoxi couldn't figure it out. What kind of wind is this Ling Shui smoking? Wanting to be there for no reason. Could it be that he wants you to be there when he fights? To cheer him up. Lu Wenwan frowned slightly, then laughed dryly. Impossible, where is there such a childish reason? Yan Luoxi then exhaled helplessly. There is no way, no matter what the reason is for Ling Shui, anyway, she just needs to get the Imperial capital tomorrow. Since you've decided to go, then get ready and go. Lu Wenwan continued. Yan Luoxi nodded slightly. Well, let's go and see what that guy is up to. On the other side, the Qinlingu tribe. At this time, all the armies of the Qinling ancient clan had gathered. Thousands of troops, mighty and mighty. Several huge monsters that block the sky and the sun are suspended in midair. Below, the Qinling ancient army gathered together densely. The ones standing at the forefront will naturally be the Patriarch Qianshan and Chen Shui. Looking at the mighty Qinling ancient army, Qianshan took a deep breath. Then he ordered, let's go. Tomorrow is the day when the demon sect will attack the Taishuan Empire. If we set off now, we will be able to arrive just in time. Following Qian Chen's order, all the Qinling ancient army rushed up. All of them came to the backs of those huge flying monsters. Then, the whole army marched. The target, the Taishuan Empire. Meanwhile, the other side. Yi Feng and Yi Jin went to the imperial capital of the Taishuan Empire together. Both of them are relatively weak, so of course the journey is very slow. In desperation, Yan Liang had no choice but to admit defeat completely, so he took Yi Feng and Yi Yu together and flew to the imperial capital at full speed. They should be able to reach the imperial capital during tomorrow's war. One day is soon over. Today is the time for the demon sect to officially attack the Taishuan Empire. The Taishuan Empire, the imperial capital. In the desolate imperial capital, there are not many people in sight at this time. In the direction of the palace, the army of the empire has all gathered. The entire palace square, inside and out, is neatly organized with thousands of troops. A vast expanse of darkness. The army of the empire is ready to go all out. Yidingtian and other powerful empires also stood on top of the palace. All of them looked solemn at this time, because no one knows what kind of result awaits them today. At this moment, some figures could be vaguely seen on the edge of the imperial capital. Those are people from all corners of the country who want to watch the excitement. Come to watch the battle. Yan Luoxi and the others were of course among them. The entire bustling imperial capital was silent at this moment. The silence before the end. It was so quiet that even the sound of the flag fluttering in the breeze could be heard. Swish. At this moment, 3 figures suddenly came from afar. In the direction of the palace, Yi Dingtian raised his head, and then his complexion changed drastically. Because it was none other than Yi Feng and the others who came. See your majesty. As soon as he came, Yan Liang knelt down towards Yi Dingtian. Yi Feng and Yi Yu were unmoved, but their eyes were fixed on Yi Dingtian. Guard Yan. Yi Dingtian was sullen at this moment. What did you do? Didn't he tell him to protect Yi Feng to live? As a result, he actually brought Yi Feng directly to the imperial capital. Bring it to this battlefield. His Royal Highness is righteous, wants to live and die with the empire, and lives and dies with his majesty. This subordinate. The subordinate cannot stop it. Yan Liang bowed his head. Yi Dingtian looked at Yi Feng with a serious expression on his face. Of course he could understand Yan Liang's difficulties. He then shook his head. Fenger, it's a good thing to be righteous, but it's not a good thing to be arrogant. At this time, Yi Feng was also staring at Yi Dingtian firmly. This is the first time he officially met his biological father. I'm really the prince. Yi Feng then smiled bitterly. This is a good thing, but in today's world, it is not a good thing. Yes, you are the prince. So you should understand your responsibilities. Yi Dingtian said in a deep voice. Fenger, as long as you live well, the future of the empire will not end. Watching the destruction of my family's empire, watching my relatives die in battle, while I am still alive. I can't do such a thing. Yi Feng said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Yi Dingtian smiled. He is very pleased that Yi Feng can have such loyalty. Fenger, people live in the world and always do things that cannot be done. He went on to say, now, listen to the emperor's words, leave here and live. This is what you should. At this moment, before Yi Dingtian finished speaking. Above the sky, there was a sudden buzzing sound, and a huge spatial rift suddenly formed. As if the sky was torn apart, a huge crack appeared and twisted. This sudden scene changed the expressions of everyone in the entire empire. Yi Dingtian's heart sank even more. It's too late, the people from the demon sect have arrived. A silent imperial capital. Above the sky, the huge space distortion is like an eye opened by the sky. Dark and deep. On the head of the imperial palace, Yi Dingtian's expression was extremely dignified. Did it come from tearing apart the space? Sure enough, as rumored, there is still a realm of extreme martial arts in the demon sect. If there is a state of extreme martial arts, then today's battle, of course, is completely without suspense. Walk. At this last moment, Yi Dingtian just said heavily to Yi Feng, hide away, the farther away from me the better. If you are just an unknown commoner in the imperial capital, the demon sect will not embarrass you. After all, He just waved his hand. A gust of wind sent Yi Feng and Yi Tan far away. It fell in the densely packed pavilions in the imperial capital. If Yi Feng has nothing to do with him, and has nothing to do with the empire, then the demon sect will not take action against Yi Feng. Yi Feng has a chance to live. Father. At the last moment, Yi Feng only yelled out 2 words. Yi Dingtian took a deep breath. It was worth it to see him at the last moment. It's just that in the future, he will have to live on his own. After Yi Feng and Yi Yu landed, Yi Feng had a sullen face and wanted to continue running towards the palace. Brother Yi Feng. Yi Yu stopped him at this time. Your father is right, you should live. Now that the people from the demon sect have arrived, it is better for Yi Feng not to go up to die. Asshole. Yi Feng gritted his teeth, looked at the sky, and looked in the direction of the palace. Could it be that he could really just watch the empire fall and his own father die in front of him? Brother Yi Feng, we can't help you much, this time, listen to me, okay? Yi Tan's eyes were red. She certainly didn't want to see Yi Feng go to die. Yi Feng tightly clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. He has never felt so powerless, and hated his lack of strength so much. But powerlessness is powerlessness. At this time, everyone in the entire imperial capital raised their heads and looked at the huge space distortion in midair. Then, under everyone's gaze, a huge purple gold seraph tortoise first swam out of it. On the back of the dragon turtle with monstrous energy, is the top of the gorgeous pavilion. The one standing at the forefront is naturally Ling Shui. He put his hands behind his back, his white hair fluttering in the wind. In the noble blood-red eyes, there is a kind of stern royal demeanor. Beside him was Yan Kui with fiery red hair and beard. Behind him, there are Yu Yaoyao, Yu Yu, Xiao Shangyu, Beidu, Lin Feng, and the rest of the Shenyuan realm. In addition to the 12 demons of the demon sect, there are also other people whose strength has reached the divine origin realm. Today, basically everyone who can come has come. A huge dragon turtle swam out. Immediately after, several huge flying beasts flew out slowly. What is carried on it are many strong men from the demon sect. After that, the mighty demon army stepped out neatly. Thousands of troops, covering the sky and the sun. The imperial capital of the Taishuan Empire, at this very moment, has become somewhat bleak due to the arrival of the demon sect army. Of course, all the people from the demon gate were not present. But those who are in the main altar of the demon sect have basically come. There are almost 10 divine origin realms. Ling Shui and Yan Kui who take the lead are both the peak combat power of the extreme martial realm. The densely packed army behind is several times more than the Taishuan Empire's army. From any point of view, the demon sect completely crushes the Taishuan Empire. Compared with the demon sect, the Taishuan Empire is like a sick cat meeting a ferocious tiger. At the forefront of the Taishuan Empire's palace, Yi Dingtian immediately gave an order, prepare for battle. After all, his figure rose into the air little by little. Behind him, Huang Hao, Yan Liang and others also rose into the air. All those above the Tianshuan mirror followed Yi Dingtian into midair, facing the mighty demon army on the opposite side. But he didn't look at Yi Dingtianren, but his eyes swept across the edge of the imperial capital. Finally, his gaze was fixed in the direction of Yan Luoxi and the others. Then, his eyes met Yan Luoxi's, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. As expected, she was still obedient, as long as she came. Yan Luoxi also noticed that Ling Shui was looking at her from a long distance. She just glanced at Ling Shui from a distance and then looked away. I really don't know what this guy is going to do by himself. Now that he has come, is he satisfied? In midair, at the forefront of the demon army, Ling Shui glanced at Yan Luoxi and then looked away. Then looked in the direction of the imperial palace. Then he looked at Yi Dingtian and the others. What about Yi Feng? Did he not come? Ling Shui didn't act in a hurry, but slowly closed his eyes. The vast spiritual consciousness was sensed throughout the entire imperial capital. Then, he sensed 2 weak aura fluctuations in one direction. Yi Feng, Yi Yun. The corners of Ling Shui's mouth curled up slightly. This idiot protagonist really came. So the most important thing today is, kill the protagonist first. Immediately Ling Shui opened his eyes, turned his head slightly, and looked in that direction. On the edge of the pavilion street, Yi Feng's eyes just happened to be looking at him at this moment. For the first time, the eyes of two people who are not at the same level collide together. At that moment, Feng felt an unprecedented sense of crisis, a sense of crushing from the inside out, a sense of fear from the inside out. Ling Shui's eyes seemed to have hundreds of millions of tons of pressure, making Feng almost inexplicably out of breath. In midair, when Yi Dingtian noticed that Ling Shui's eyes were looking at Feng, and saw the sneer on the corner of Ling Shui's mouth, his heart sank suddenly. Why did Ling Shui's eyes look towards Feng? Did he know that Feng is the prince of the Taishuan Empire? Feng is the prince of the Taishuan Empire, no outsiders know about it. But Ling Shui looked at Feng as soon as he came. This is what it means to lock onto the target directly. Why? At this time, Yi Dingtian felt uneasy in his heart. Today I'm afraid Feng can't escape. At this moment, in the distant sky, several huge flying monsters soared quickly. Everyone's eyes are looking, only to see that on the backs of those huge flying monsters, there are also thousands of troops densely packed, mighty and mighty. As that, the Qinlingu clan. Are the people from the Qinlingu clan also here? Could it be that they want to join forces with the Taishuan Empire? It's useless. Together with the Qinling ancient clan, the Taishuan Empire will undoubtedly be defeated. Today is the end of the Taishuan Empire. If the Qinling ancient clan joined it, it would be nothing but their lives. On the edge of the imperial capital, among those watching the battle, a voice rang out. Many people are a little curious. Back then in Canyon Tianshan, there were 7 major forces that attacked Ling Shui. No other forces dared to support the Taishuan Empire. Could it be that this Qinlingu clan wants to die? On the side of the Taishuan Empire, Yi Dingtian and the others also had their hearts beating slightly. This Gan Lingu tribe, could it be that they came to support them? Although the Qinling ancient clan and the Taishuan Empire can't change anything, it can increase the hope of victory a little bit. Yi Dingtian and others, of course, are still very eager to get assistance. However, just when everyone was thinking this way, when everyone thought that the Qinlingu clan would stand on the side of the Taishuan Empire, several flying monsters of the Qinling ancient clan stopped behind the demon army. Then, dry dust and dry snow swept across to Ling Shui's front. The Qinling ancient clan is willing to fight for the demon lord. Qian Chen bowed directly and said. Seeing such a scene, the complexions of everyone present changed drastically. The hearts of Yi Dingtian and others on the opposite side sank even more. Didn't the Qinling ancient clan come to support the Taishuan Empire at all? Instead, they came to play for Ling Shui. The Taishuan Empire is far from being the opponent of the demon sect. Now the Qinling ancient clan still wants to help the demon sect. It is even more impossible for the Taishuan Empire to have the slightest chance of winning. After all, with only one Qinling ancient clan, it is actually almost comparable to the Taishuan Empire. It is said that in Canyon Tianshan, the ancient Qinling clan also made a move. Is Ling Shui planning to let the Qian Lingu clan go? What is the reason? In midair, in front of Ling Shui, Qian Shui then took a step forward. Then my mind moved. The ancient colored glaze lamp exuding 9-colored brilliance appeared in his hand. Then, holding the ancient lamp in both hands, she offered it to Ling Shui. This is what the devil wants. Ling Shui stared at the ancient lamp in Qinzu's hand, with a slight smile on the corner of her mouth. He then reached out to take the ancient lamp from Qinzu's hand. Then with a thought, the ancient lamp melted into his body. Into his air sea. At this time, in his sea of qi, the ancient glazed lamp and the ancient black pagoda complement each other. Now, Ling Shui has another powerful hole card. At critical moments, these 2 hole cards can play a huge role. After putting away the ancient lamp, Ling Shui looked at Chen Shui in front of her, and at her exquisite little face. Then she raised her hand and gently raised her delicate white chin. You made a very correct choice. Of course, Ling Shui's actions were noticed by Yan Luoxi on the edge of the imperial capital. Immediately, Yan Luoxi's eyebrows moved slightly. What is the relationship between that girl and Ling Shui? Why is Ling Shui always surrounded by so many stunning beauties? In midair, Gan Shui also looked at Ling Shui with her beautiful eyes, and then said, Master Demon King, I have something to ask. As soon as the words came out, Gan Chen next to her immediately gave her a look. Don't say such things at this time, shall we? It's more appropriate to stabilize first. to have a stable relationship with Ling Shui first, and then talk. However, Ling Shui smiled lightly. I know. While speaking, his palm was always resting on Chinzu's chin, and his thumb lightly stroked her moist and soft pink lips. In the future, I will help you find the person you want to meet. Ling Shui continued. After all, he is going to enter foreign lands in the future. Finding Chinzu's mother was just incidental. As soon as these words came out, Gan Shui was overjoyed. Thank you, Lord Demon King. She then said hastily. Dry dust is also a joy. Then I was a little curious. How does Ling Shui really know everything? Qian Shui didn't even say what kind of help he wanted from him, but he actually agreed directly. Can't he read minds? This is what you deserve. Ling Shui then withdrew his hand and said flatly, from now on, you stay in the Demon Gate, stay by my side. This Chen Shui is not inferior to Xiaoshangyu and others in terms of appearance alone. It's very suitable to stay by my side and be my personal maid with Xiaoxiao. Yes, Chen Shui nodded slightly. Now, she is willing to stay by Ling Shui's side, no matter what Ling Shui asks her to do, she is willing. Because Ling Shui has promised her that she will see her mother in the future. If Ling Shui says it, he will definitely do it. Below, on the edge of the Imperial capital, Yan Luoxi was always looking at Ling Shui. Xiame frowned slightly, not knowing what she was thinking. And Lu Chengshuang, who was next to her, had been paying attention to Yan Luoxi's subtle expression changes. So, what is the relationship between Ling Shui and her? Feels that something is wrong with the two of them. By the way, Yan Luoxi is indeed a celestial being. In terms of appearance and temperament alone, she is indeed a good match for Ling Shui. In midair, Ling Shui then let out a slight breath. Then slowly raised his hand. Now that everyone is here, let's do it. He then waved his hand and gave a faint order, no one will be left behind. As soon as he finished speaking, the demon army behind him swarmed up. Fight. On the opposite side, Yi Dingtian also let out a loud roar, and then led the Imperial army to meet him head-on. On the side of the Qinlingu tribe, Qianchen also brought the army of the Qinlingu tribe along with Yu Yixi to make tea. But Ling Shui, at this time, his gaze was looking at Yi Feng again. The matter of destroying the Taishuan Empire should be handed over to the subordinates first. The first thing he has to do today is to kill the protagonist first. Sensing Ling Shui's eyes looking over for the second time, Yi Feng's heart trembled suddenly. I don't know why, but he always feels that this shaman devil is targeting him a bit. Wow! The next moment, suddenly a monstrous sword energy erupted from Ling Shui. The direction is directed at Yi Feng. Ling Shui's first move is to kill Yi Feng first. And now, no one can save Yi Feng. Blood-red sword energy descended from the sky mightily, pointing at Yi Feng. With Yi Feng's cultivation base, in front of Ling Shui, he is almost like an ant. But Ling Shui shot without reservation. The lion fights the rabbit with all its strength. He is the protagonist, there is no need to keep him. Be sure to kill it cleanly. Facing the mighty sword energy falling from the sky, Yi Feng naturally had nowhere to hide. With his cultivation base, of course he can't do anything. Both he and Yi Yan could only watch the vast sword energy descending from the sky. Before that vast sword energy, they were as small as dust. Wind. High above the sky, Yi Dingtian, who was rushing forward with the Imperial army, suddenly changed his face when he saw this. He also never expected that when Ling Shui made a move, the first person to kill would be his son. This is beyond anyone's imagination. Why is that? Even if Ling Shui knew that Yi Feng was his son, even if Ling Shui knew that Yi Feng was the prince of the Taishuan Empire. Why did you want to kill him? Why should he be the first to kill an inconspicuous earth spirit realm? Guard Yan. Immediately, Yi Dingtian roared loudly, he could only pin his hopes on the powerful men of the empire. Yan Liang immediately shot out with a swish, his aura rolled, and he rushed forward to meet Ling Shui's sword aura. Fish fish fish. Sword chi filled the sky and collided with Yan Liang immediately. It's a pity, with Yan Liang's strength in the mid-stage of the Shenyuan realm, how can he resist Ling Shui's first form of Chenkin sword art? The sword energy all over the sky instantly engulfed Yan Liang. At the same time, the army of the demon sect and the army of the Taishuan Empire collided like two torrents. Boom! Suddenly, there was a bang between the heaven and the earth, and the entire Imperial capital fell into a frenzied tremor. A series of shock waves erupted among the thousands of troops. The blood-colored sword energy in the sky also drowned Yan Liang completely, destroying all the spiritual energy in his body and throwing it away. After the first wave hit, the most conspicuous result was Yan Liang died. Yan Liang was instantly engulfed by Ling Shui's sword energy, and was wiped out in ashes. He didn't know the horror of Chengkin's sword art. He thought he could block this move for Yi Feng. As everyone knows, he sacrificed himself, and what he got in return was that the power of the sword energy was slightly weakened, which was not necessary. The vast sword energy is still below, still pointing at Yi Feng. In midair, Yi Dingtian, who had entered the melee, changed greatly. Unfortunately, it's too late. With his speed, he can't catch up now. It can't stop Ling Shui's move at all. Demon Sect Jr., don't hurt my grandson. At this moment, when Yi Dingtian was helpless, a low growl suddenly sounded. In the direction where the sword energy exploded, suddenly a distortion appeared in the space in midair, and all the sword energy burst into the tearing space, disappearing without a trace. Then, from the distorted space, an old figure stepped out slowly. It was an old man with gray hair and a thin face, but he didn't have half a beard on his face. The Emperor. The sudden appearance of this figure shocked everyone in the Taishuan Empire. This old man was the last emperor of the Taishuan Empire, Yi Dingtian's father, and Yi Feng's grandfather. Yi Kangqing. It was rumored that Yi Kangqing had already died, so Yi Jingtian succeeded to the throne. No one expected that he would appear here. He didn't die. Even Yi Dingtian didn't know about this. He didn't know that his father didn't die at all, but just found a place to hide and retreat for cultivation. Seeing Yi Kangqing again now, he was also shocked. Everyone around, including Lu Wenwan, who was watching the battle, was also shocked at this moment. This is the supreme emperor of the Taishuan Empire. That's right, it's Yi Kangqing. Didn't he die a few years ago? He didn't die, and he is in the realm of extreme martial arts. Now, in today's battle, I'm afraid there will be some worries. In my opinion, there is no suspense. Ling Shui already has a combat power comparable to that of the extreme martial realm. The Demon Sect army plus the Chiming ancient clan, the Taishuan Empire can only be crushed. Among the crowd watching the battle, there was a heated discussion. Yi Kangqing's appearance undoubtedly exceeded everyone's expectations. Only Ling Shui's face remained unchanged in midair. Of course he already knew that Yi Kangqing was not dead, and he also knew that Yi Kangqing would appear at this critical moment. Everything is in his plan. Today, he wanted to rely on Yi Kangqing to reach the realm of extreme martial arts. Demon Sect Jr., do you think there is no one in my empire? After Yi Kangqing appeared, his eyes fell on Ling Er. While speaking, he waved his sleeves. Immediately in front of Yi Feng and Yi Tan, a spatial distortion appeared. He knew that even if he appeared, it would not be able to reverse the situation of today's battle. But he believes that it is still possible to save a few people and get out in the end. In midair, Ling Shui's expression remained unchanged. After today, there will indeed be no one left in your empire. He then smiled coldly. Old Yan. All of a sudden, the spatial rift that Yi Kangqing tore open was closed alive by another vast force of extreme martial arts. Yi Feng and Yi Tan cannot escape. Yan Kui's figure then swept out, and looked at Yi Kangqing in midair. You old bone, you really survived back then. Yan Kui sneered, looking at Yi Kangqing opposite. Hee, Yan Kui, I didn't expect you to be alive. Yi Kangqing also smiled coldly. The brow is subconsciously furrowed. If there is still Yan Kui on the demon sect's side, I'm afraid he will not be able to save not only one person today. Even myself, maybe have to stay. The old man wants to see if you have made any progress after living with this old bone for so many years. Yan Kui snorted coldly. A vast flame erupted from his body in an instant. His entire eyes and red hair and beard were burning at this very moment. The whole body is instantly covered with fire, like a tall and burly Vulcan. Then, without any nonsense, he clenched his fists and shot towards Yi Kangqing suddenly. On the opposite side, Yi Kangqing's eyes were fixed, and thunder and lightning suddenly erupted all over his body. Then, he faced him with a palm facing up. Fire fist and thunder palm slammed into each other in midair. Suddenly, there was an explosion. One could only see that half of the dome was engulfed in flames, and the other half was filled with thunder. After one move, Yan Kui made another move, and Yi Kangqing, who was also at the first level of extreme martial arts, could only go all out. The aftermath of the battle between the two extreme martial realms rippled in midair in an instant. The vast shock wave annexed half of the battlefield. The battle between the two undoubtedly instantly became the most dazzling place in the entire imperial capital. In midair, when Yan Kui stopped Yi Kangqing, Ling Shui sneered. "Raise your palm again. This time, there must be no one to stop it, right? Today, no one can save the protagonist Yi Feng. Shish." The next moment, Ling flicked his fingers. The blood-colored sword energy burst out once again. Like a rain of blood, it burst down. This time, no one was able to stop them. On the other side of the empire, all the strong men were restrained by the strong men of the demon sect and the Chiming ancient clan. No one could pull it off at all. Everyone can only watch helplessly as the sword energy engulfs Yi Feng and Yi Tan below again. The people watching the battle around were a little confused at this moment. Why is Ling Shui so determined to kill a mere existence in the Earth Spirit Realm first? With the existence of this Land Spirit Realm, we can finish defeating the Empire first and slowly clean it up. Of course they don't understand Ling Shui. To deal with the protagonist, you have to be quick, precise and ruthless. Late makes a difference. After all, this kid is the son of luck. The wind. In the melee, Yi Kangqing and Yi Dingtian had no chance to help at this time. He could only watch helplessly as Yi Feng once again fell into the danger of certain death. But this time, no one can save him. The sky-filled sword energy finally fell under the fearful eyes of Yi Feng and Yi Tan. "Kill him, can you afford the consequences?" At this moment, a cold and moving voice suddenly sounded. 2. A vast barrier instantly enveloped Yi Feng below. All the sword energy in the sky fell on the barrier, and in the end, it was just a result of completely cancelling out the barrier. Yi Feng, still not dead. In midair, Ling Shui frowned slightly. This time, who is it again? Who else? I saw below, the place where the enchantment had just condensed, a snow-white figure, who did not know when it appeared there. She appeared there as if teleported, without any warning. It's not from tearing the space. Just like that, it appeared there out of thin air. It was a woman in a soft white dress with a veil on her face. Although he couldn't see the face clearly, he could vaguely see the delicate outline under the veil. A pair of penetrating blood-red eyes, just like Ling Shui's. And on her forehead, there is an ancient scarlet rune pattern. The whole person is like the nine heavens Xuanbi, absolutely beautiful and refined. The sudden appearance of this white-clothed, blood-eyed woman made everyone in the scene bewildered. Because no one recognizes her. The demon sect, the Chiming Clan, the Empire, and everyone watching the battle around. No one knows where this woman is and where she came from. Quite a few people think, is this another support from the Taishuan Empire? Does the Taishuan Empire still have support? Even Ling Shui doesn't know who she is or where she comes from. Ling Shui just took a slight breath. The son of luck. Is it really possible to have this kind of luck? So many people trying to save him, an idiot. You want to protect him. Ling Shui immediately said coldly. While speaking, he slowly raised his palm, and the blood-colored sword energy circulated again. This time, he was really impatient. The Chenkin sword art has directly moved to the 9th form. And no matter who this woman is, if this woman wants to stop him from killing Yi Feng, then of course he will not be polite. No, I want to protect you. However, the masked woman in white with blood pupils said to Ling Shui lightly, he is a thread that runs through the future. If you kill him, something will be disrupted. It may bring you adverse consequences. Hearing this, Ling Shui narrowed his eyes slightly. Can say such a thing, this. The background of this woman. I am afraid it is beyond everyone's imagination. She actually knew that Yi Feng was a thread running through the future. Adverse consequences. Ling Shui then sneered. Yi Feng is the protagonist, and in the original novel, he was the one who killed himself in the end. If you keep him, you will have no future. Who cares what consequences? You don't seem to be the original. Ling Shui then looked at the woman in white with blood pupils and asked. The woman was also looking at Ling Shui at this time. Two pairs of blood-red eyes looked at each other at this moment. I am indeed not the body, my body cannot descend, and I cannot stop anything, I am just a consciousness. The woman continued. I just want to advise you, don't kill him. Kill him. Maybe something will be messed up. I'm doing it for your own good. Persuade me. Ling Shui sneered, he never listened to advice. What he is going to do, the heavenly King Laosu will not be able to stop him. Since this woman is not her own body, she can't be strong enough, and of course it can't stop him. Step aside. Ling Shui then spit out 2 words coldly. Do you have to be so persistent? The blood pupil girl frowned slightly, but she didn't give way. In midair, Ling Shuiduo didn't say a word. The 9th form of the Chenkin sword art burst out directly. Sword burial. Call out. Immediately, a burst of blood-colored sword energy shot down. There is only a blood-colored sword energy like a substance, which looks ordinary. But only those with sharp eyesight can understand what kind of terrifying power is hidden under this plain sword energy. Of course the blood-eyed woman in the mask in white knew it too. Seeing Ling Shui's flat sword falling from the sky, she gritted her teeth slightly. Then, there was no choice but to dodge. She couldn't persuade Ling Shui, and of course she couldn't stop it. Then, under everyone's gaze, that simple sword energy finally fell down. Clang! This blood-red sword energy did not penetrate Yi Feng. Instead, under the terrified eyes of Yi Feng and Yi Yu, it landed in front of them, piercing the bluestone floor with a bang. Such a funny scene made everyone look confused. What kind of move is this? It looks, has no attack power at all. But then, everyone understood the horror of this sword. I saw that blood-red sword chi softly trembling crazily, jiao jiao hao. And then, boom boom boom. It was as if a drop of water had fallen into a pan of boiling oil. That sword energy instantly exploded above the ground. A series of vast shock waves of sword energy instantly permeated the entire Imperial capital. It really permeated the entire Imperial capital. The entire bustling and empty Imperial capital, as well as the Imperial palace, were instantly submerged in the explosion of sword energy. The blood-red shock wave of sword energy instantly flooded the entire land within reach of the naked eye. Everything touched by the sword chi was instantly wiped out. It's like a blood-red pyrotechnic funeral, burying everything. On the side, Yan Luoxi, Lu Wenwan and others who were watching the battle all jumped into the air in a hurry, and only then did they avoid this terrifying sword. At this time, everyone looked down, everything was submerged in the blood red. The Imperial Palace, the pavilions and pavilions of the prosperous Imperial capital, and the mountains and rivers around the Imperial capital. All vanished. Below, where the naked eye can see, there is only a piece of blood red left. It makes people feel like they are on the blood-red clouds at this time. As for Yi Feng and Yi Tan, of course they couldn't say anything or do anything at the last moment. Just like that, it was wiped out by Ling Shui's unreserved sword. At the last moment, Ling Shui personally watched Yi Feng's body being shattered by the sword energy. Ashes fly into smoke, souls fly away. From now on, there will be no more protagonists in the world, no more Yi Feng. Now, Yi Feng was completely killed. Absolutely clean. In midair, the masked white-clothed woman with blood pupils was also looking at the bloody cloud below. Then he frowned. Ling Shui did this kind of thing after all. After all, it still disturbs the future. From then on, no one knows what direction the future will develop in. Where are you from? At this time, Ling Shui who killed Yi Feng in midair spoke again. While speaking, he looked down at the blood-eyed woman below. Even in the original book, there is no record about this woman. She must have a lot of background. Facing Ling Shui's question, the blood-eyed woman just took a deep breath. Then he suddenly uttered a sentence in a very strange tone. I don't want to talk to you. With this appearance, she looks like a little woman with a bit of resentment. This sudden change of tone made Ling Shui frown slightly. Swish. The next moment, Ling Shui's figure suddenly shot down at the woman, trying to tear off the veil on her face. This woman is very strange in every way, but we have to find out who she is. But the woman dodged away in a flash. Ling Shui was left blank. After one move was missed, Ling Shui certainly didn't have to try again. Although this woman is only a consciousness body, her strength is almost equal to her own. It's hard to force anything on her. You just said. The future. So, You know what will happen in the future? Ling Shui then asked. Of course I don't know. The woman glared at Ling Shui and said, but I just know that he was originally a thread that runs through the entire future. Now, you have pulled out this thread, and the future will be chaotic. Since you don't know what's going to happen in the future, why do you think you're helping me? Ling Shui continued. He has an innate destiny. If you kill him, you will definitely be affected. The woman replied. You think I can't bear this mere influence? Ling Shui said coldly. What is more unbearable than death? These words made the woman silent. After all, whether the future is good or bad, she does not dare to judge. It's just that there is a certain possibility that Ling Shui will be affected. Where did you come from? Where is your body? Ling Shui then asked. None of your business. The woman suddenly snorted softly. This inexplicable tone made Ling Shui frown again. Why is this tone similar to that of Yan Luoxi? Ling Shui's gaze subconsciously glanced in Yan Luoxi's direction. At this time, Yan Luoxi was of course looking at him with Lu Wenwan and Lu Chengshuang. Of course they were also very curious about where this woman with the same pair of blood-colored eyes as Ling Shui came from. In the past, everyone thought that Yan Luoxi and Ling were a good match. Congenital white hair, that deserted temperament, that peerless face. They are like a match made in heaven. Including Yan Luoxi, actually had such thoughts. If anyone in the world had to find a man who could make her see him, Ling Shui was the only one. But now, suddenly there is an extra woman. A woman who looks like a good match for Ling Shui on the surface. And it has the same blood-red eyes as Ling Shui. This made Yan Luoxi feel a little complicated suddenly. At this moment, she was quietly looking at Ling Shui and the blood-eyed woman in the distance, and no one knew what was going on in her heart. On the opposite side, the blood-eyed woman glared at Ling Shui again, and continued, You don't listen to me, why should I tell you? After finishing speaking, her figure began to fade a little bit. Her time has come, she is just a consciousness. Looking at the blood-eyed woman who was slowly disappearing away, Ling Shui knew but couldn't ask anything. So he just said lightly, We will meet again, right? If we meet again, I will beat you up first. The blood-eyed woman snorted coldly. These were the last words she left. After saying these words, her entire figure disappeared completely. It's just that at the last ABC8 moment, her gaze suddenly turned to Yan Luoxi. Of course Yan Luoxi also noticed her gaze. Immediately, Yan Luoxi was a little curious what was she looking at herself for last. There must be some special reason for this mysterious existence to suddenly look at me, right? Ling Shui's gaze was also looking at Yan Luoxi at this time. Of course, he also noticed the last look of the blood-eyed woman. But of course Ling Shui didn't understand why she gave Yan Luoxi a look at the end. Could it be that she knew something special about Yan Luoxi? She knew that Yan Luoxi was related to the existence of the Supreme Realm. Where the hell is this woman from? Could she be related to the Supreme Realm like Yan Luoxi? Ling Shui then took a deep breath. There was insufficient evidence, and of course he couldn't understand anything. This is a fantasy world, full of unknowns. In the future, I will naturally figure it out. Immediately afterwards, Ling Shui looked at the chaotic battlefield. Of course, the army on the ground below was completely blood-bathed by his sword just now. And above the sky, under the attack of Yu and the others, the army of the Empire collapsed in a blink of an eye. Yi Dingtian's eyes were red in the midst of the melee, and while facing the battle, he looked at the battle for love. Ling Shui killed his only descendant, killed the only prince of the empire, of course he was deeply grieved, and of course he wished to cut Ling Shui into pieces. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that ability. He can't even take care of himself now. Ling Shui didn't pay too much attention to the melee in the army, there was no doubt that the empire would lose. He just turned his eyes to the earth-shattering thunder and fire shock wave on the entire battlefield. Next is the time to reach the extreme martial arts level with the help of Yan Luoxi and Yi Kangqing. Immediately, Ling Shui gave an order, Old Yan, quick battle. Decree. During the scuffle, Yan Kui let out a low growl. Then the palms suddenly formed a seal. Behind him, a huge formation of flames suddenly formed. The vast formation, like a round of scorching sun burning behind his back. Exuding scorching heat and dazzling light. Old dog Yi, you don't seem to have made any progress at all. That's it. Immediately afterwards, he shouted loudly, Hong Guan Ri. Boom. All of a sudden, the huge flame array behind him suddenly burst into a huge pillar of fire with more than 100 feet, engulfing Yi Kangqing on the opposite side. The huge pillar of fire, like a straight fire dragon, pierced the sky. The scorching heat distorted the entire space of the world. On the other side, facing Yan Kui's decisive blow, Yi Kangqing certainly did not dare to neglect at all. The thunder power in the body burst out crazily. Accompanied by a burst of thunder and lightning, a thunder and lightning tornado that was also hundreds of feet thick instantly formed around him. Then, the lightning tornado and the crimson pillar of fire collided suddenly in midair. It's like two giant dragons colliding together. Boom. There was a bang, and the sky and the earth trembled. Thunder and flames swept together madly amidst the tremors. The world changes color. The vast shock wave pervades the entire imperial capital. Even the blood mist left by Ling Shui's sword just below was blown out of a large open space. The barrenness of the ground was exposed. The full-strength blows of the two extreme martial arts are of course equally terrifying. The vast shock wave of thunder and fire swept wildly in midair, and at the same time, Yan Kui and Yi Kangyan were submerged in it. Everyone around and in the melee subconsciously retreated a certain distance. In the battle of extreme martial realm, except for Ling Shui, no one present could withstand the aftermath of the battle. The terrifying shock wave filled half of the world, and after a long time, it slowly subsided. The gazes of Ling Shui and the others were all looking at the center of the thunder-fire shock wave that slowly dissipated. As the thunder and fire dissipated, two figures stood there. At this time, both Yan Kui and Yi Kangqing had their hair disheveled, bloodstains hung from the corners of their mouths, their bodies were torn and blackened, and they were in a state of embarrassment. There were some bruised wounds on his body, dripping with blood. Two extreme martial arts and one realm fight together, it is the result of such a loss for both sides. At this time, the two of them seemed to have run out of oil lamps, and they no longer had much fighting power. Yan Kui, you can't kill me, Yi Kangqing panted heavily, staring at Yan Kui opposite him. Both being at the extreme martial realm, he and Yan Kui are not much different in strength. It is impossible for the two of them to kill each other. HMPH. If I try my best, I can kill you even if I get 90% of my injuries. Yan Kui snorted coldly. Compared with Yi Kangqing, he is a little bit more forced. If he was really desperate, Yi Kangqing must die first. The reason why he didn't do this was because it was Ling Shui's arrangement. As for what Ling Shui wants to do, he doesn't know either. Hee, it's a pity that you are also afraid of death. Yi Kangqing sneered, and then glanced at the Imperial army that had been killed in the melee to less than 1/10. Then, a burst of space distortion appeared around him. Old dog Yi, you saw your son and grandson killed, your empire was trampled to ashes with your own eyes, and you still want to escape. What a coward, Yan Kui immediately mocked. Yi Kangqing's blood-stained face had an ugly expression. But at this moment, of course he can't control so much. Survive yourself first. But at this moment, just when he was about to tear apart the space and escape, there was a sudden buzzing around him. 6 streaks of blood-red sword energy suddenly enveloped him. 6 streaks of blood-red sword energy are distributed around him, up, down, left, and right, as well as front and back. All pointing at him. Form a Lubin lock shape with crosses up, down, left, and right. Pin him in the middle. The third form of Chenkin sword art, sword lock. With a single targeted move, the move can only be aimed at one opponent. When facing Yi Kangqing, it was just right. The sudden appearance of 6 sword chi caused Yi Kangqing's complexion to change again. He immediately dodged away, but the 6 sword chi seemed to have become his shadow. Wherever he went, the sword chi would follow him there. This is a locked-in move that no one can avoid. Yi Kangqing kept his face stern, raised his head slightly, and looked at Ling Shui who was opposite him. I said, after today, there will be no one in your empire. I saw Ling Shui sneered coldly on the opposite side. If you don't kill them all, how can you count as no one? After saying that, Ling Shui shook his fingers. Boom. Immediately, the 6 bloody sword chi gathered towards Yi Kangqing at the same time. Gathered towards a central point. Yi Kangqing couldn't dodge at all, of course he could only resist with all his strength bursting out. Boom! The next moment, 10 terrifying shock waves of sword energy erupted in the air and rose. All 6 sword chi fell on Yi Kangqing. Under normal conditions, Yi Kangqing would of course be able to block Ling Shui's move. It's a pity that Yan Kui had already fought him to death just now. Of course he cannot be Ling Shui's opponent when he is in a state of residual health. Ling Shui's move was enough for him. As the aftermath of the sword energy dissipated in midair, Yi Kangqing inside was revealed. At this time, Yi Kangqing was dripping with blood and even dying. PFF'd. He then spat out another mouthful of blood. Those bloodshot eyes stared ferociously at Ling Shui on the opposite side. Fifth form. Return to 1. Ling Shui didn't give him any time to breathe. The next moment, the 5th form of the Chenkin sword art is in motion. In this move, there is only one sword aura, a sword aura with extremely small attack range but extremely strong attack power. This sword shot directly towards Yi Kangqing. Yi Kangqing is of course unavoidable at this time. He could only watch the burst of sword energy coming, and he poured out the last spiritual energy in his body to block it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. This sword broke through his weak defense, and finally pierced through his chest. Then, he was directly sent down from above the high altitude. Nailed to that barren earth. Yi Kangqing spurted out another mouthful of blood. This time, he had no strength left. That blood-colored sword energy firmly pinned him to the ground. At this moment, he didn't even have the strength to speak. Only the blood that kept coming out of his mouth. However, he is still not dead. What Ling Shui wants is that he is not dead. Then use him to reach the extreme. The next moment, Ling Shui's figure swept down and came to Yi Kangqing. At this time, Yi Kangqing was like fish on a chopping board, he could only be slaughtered. Of course Ling Shui didn't slaughter him. Instead, he raised his arms, and a burst of blood enveloped him suddenly. Then, the vast spiritual energy was drawn out from Yi Kangqing's body by Ling and crazily. Under everyone's gaze, all the aura in Yi Kangqing's body surged towards Ling Shui's palms. At this moment, Ling Shui's palms seemed to have turned into 2 black holes, constantly devouring Yi Kangqing's aura. In fact, he certainly doesn't have that devouring ability. This is just an illusion. If other people's spiritual energy is forcibly inhaled into the body, it is difficult for people who do not have a strong devouring ability to digest and absorb it instantly. Even if the 2 auras are equal, it will cause a certain backlash. At this time, Ling Shui actually absorbed Yi Kangqing's aura into his body, and then destroyed it little by little in his body. But in the eyes of others, he was devouring Yi Kangqing's aura. In Yan Luoxi's eyes, of course it is the same. And this is naturally Ling Shui's purpose. It made Yan Luoxi think that he had swallowed all of Yi Kangqing's strength. Let Yan Luoxi think that after devouring Yi Kangqing's power, he has reached the state of extreme martial arts. Let Yan Luoxi think that he has the heaven-defying ability to devour the opponent's entire strength 100%. In one fell swoop. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.